This is Daily Blast Live. We're talking about what you're talking about. Real, honest, entertaining, live. DBL starts right now.
3, 2.
Welcome to DBL. It's Tuesday, August 18th. I'm Tori here with Jeffrey, and Lindsay joins us from home. Jeff, I'm glad you got it. Whoa, Lindsay! Va-va-voom! You look fantastic.
I'm glad she said that because I would be fired. But you look terrific, Lindsay.
She's also in like a cool art gallery. Lindsay, Jeff had some car trouble getting here, no? You okay with the car?
Yeah, I had car trouble, and I think I'm having earpiece trouble as well.
Can you not hear?
No, I can't hear anything.
Okay, great.
So that's going to be great for Lindsay.
Is Mercury in retrograde or what?
Yeah, I don't know why you started off with that. I had some car trouble. My wife needed a car. We didn't use our other car for a while. I couldn't jump it. Apparently, I'm not a man, and now I need to change an electrical outlet in my house. I don't know how to do that, so I'm not feeling great about my manhood.
The man card is in question as we speak. No, I'm just kidding. You're going to do great.
Great way to kick off the show.
Way to kick off the show. I had to get you. All right. Well, the Democratic convention kicked off last night, and everyone is talking about Michelle Obama's keynote speech. The former First Lady did not hold back going after the president. Let's all take a look.
So let me be as honest and clear as I possibly can. Donald Trump is the wrong president for our country. He has had more than enough time to prove that he can do the job, but he is clearly in over his head. He cannot meet this moment. He simply cannot be who we need him to be for us. It is what it is.
Which was, I think, a reference, again, to Trump's response to the coronavirus death when he said, it is what it is. Michelle also gave a very strong endorsement for Joe Biden. Take a look.
I know Joe. He is a profoundly decent man, guided by faith. He was a terrific vice president. He knows what it takes to rescue an economy, beat back a pandemic, and lead our country. And he listens. He will tell the truth and trust science. He will make smart plans and manage a good team. And he will govern as someone who's lived a life that the rest of us can recognize.
The president responded this morning, tweeting, "Somebody please explain to Michelle Obama that Donald J. Trump would not be here in the beautiful White House if it weren't for the job done by your husband, Barack Obama. Biden was merely an afterthought, a good reason for that very late and unenthusiastic endorsement." I want to speak more on the speech that she gave. I follow speeches. I'm a nerd, political speeches. It was a riveting speech. It was one we will go down in history. When we needed someone, she was there. I would say she was the mom and the friend. She spoke about empathy. She was our healer. She was also the First Lady, saying, I've been there. Look, this isn't easy. This is hard. And this guy isn't up to the job. It wasn't personal. She just said it is what it is. It's almost like the mom or the adult that's just going to tell you like it is while ripping the Band-Aid off. I thought she nailed it. Lindsay, what did you think about the speech?
I mean, I thought she's obviously the star of the show, but I also think that, you know, she said that she goes high, and that's one of her statements ever. And so in this, she doubled down that going high doesn't mean that you're smiling in the face of cruelty. So some of the protesters and people that stood up for people like George Floyd and stand up to things that aren't right, that's also considered going high. And I thought that was an important case to make. But I hope that she's not, everyone's talking about her speech. If she overshadows Biden, to me, that's problematic when he's the one running for president. So I'm excited to see what happens in the coming days.
I understand what you're saying, and I do think we kind of needed an opener, and she was kind of like the good kickoff, but I hear what you're saying. There was also a beautiful moment, Jeff, from Kristen Urquiza, and I wanted to play it because it really meant a lot. Take a listen.
Hi, I'm Kristen Urquiza. I'm one of the many who has lost a loved one to COVID. My dad was a healthy 65-year-old. His only pre-existing condition was trusting Donald Trump, and for that, he paid with his life.
That is an argument that is hard to not listen to. I thought that she was very convincing and very real, and I think a lot of us were put in her shoes. What do you think, Jeff, of the DNC?
Well, some people seem a little bit more excited than others.
What are you doing? Is there something wrong with your neck?
Listen, I think it's very important. I think it's very important that we all pay attention to these, even if we don't watch the whole thing, at least try to catch up on some of the highlights. You guys said it perfectly. I thought Michelle Obama did a great job, but I was feeling the burn last night. I'm going to tell you why I was feeling the burn. Because he goes, listen, I'm going to support Joe Biden. If I lose to somebody, I want to support them and see them win the championship, right? Again, it's very hard to try to walk the line here without people jumping in saying, oh, he's for this side, he's for this side. I like that he's like, you know what, I don't agree with everything that Biden's saying. I have my own things. We butt heads on these certain things, but I want to bring everybody together, including the conservative side. I want to work with everybody, and I like that. We need more unity. We need more leadership. That's what I like about Byrne, but like Lindsay said, she brought up a good point. I think some of these people are outshining Joe Biden, and that's just my opinion.
I think in order to avoid...
But I also...
Oh, go ahead. Please, Lindsay, go.
No, I also think that it's important that they brought former Ohio Governor John Kasich to the table, because he is there as somebody who was a very popular governor, and he is standing there at an actual crossroads and telling us that we were in a crossroads, that was too much of a play on words, but he actually stood at the crossroads and said that he wants to go across the aisle, and Joe Biden is running on the fact that he can reach across the aisle. He has a record where he has reached across the aisle and worked with other people, and we all know that we are looking for some type of unity, so I think that that's a good stance to run on, as opposed to some other things that Joe Biden has been running on.
Yeah, I agree with Lindsay on that one. To reach across the aisle is so big in today's day and age. I can't believe I can't jumpstart my car and I know more about politics. I don't know who I'm becoming. I don't like it.
Proud of you.
I am not.
So
if Tori likes me, I feel like I'm losing in life.
That's the worst thing you could have said ever. I did think, though, Lindsay's right. She brings up a great point. A lot of Republicans who had voted for Trump were in there saying, look, I'm from Pennsylvania, I'm from Ohio, and I made a mistake. And I think that was open, honest, and that actually affected me a lot. We got a comment here from Chris Taylor. It says, it takes a great deal of cognitive dissonance for a privileged black woman to lecture whites into actually need to work for a living about the privilege of their skin color. Okay.
Nailed it.
Yeah,
Nailed
I didn't understand that.
I don't know.
I don't appreciate that at all. So we're going to move on because I don't get that. All right. A lot of people online reacted to last night's star MC, Desperate Housewives actress and activist Eva Longoria, who kicked off the virtual event. More actresses are set to MC each evening, including Kerry Washington, Tracee Ellis Ross, and Julia Louis-Dreyfus. Social media lit up with people mocking the use of star power. And Senator Marco Rubio tweeted this. Brilliant move. No one is more in touch with the challenges and obstacles faced by everyday Americans than actors and celebrities. I'm just going to say what everyone's feeling. There's a reality TV star in the White House as the president. I don't think we can ignore that he's a celebrity. I mean, who's running our country at the point? What do you think, Linz?
I mean, I think a lot of people were trying to figure out, as important as it is to have somebody representing the Latino community to be speaking at the convention, to host the whole thing with no audience, to me, as somebody who watches them every time they happen, felt weird, because with the star power, you get a really big excitement from the crowd, and then if you're watching at home, you get equally as excited. And so this time, it kind of fell flat, just like watching her host it in front of a green screen and having these conversations that were clearly taped. So it just felt, you know, I don't know, it felt like a news program, like you were watching another news network or something. But I hope that she got her message across.
I actually really, really liked it, and I think they did the best that they possibly could with what they did. Did you like Eva? I thought she spoke to the Latinx community, but she also spoke to women and as to activists as well.
Listen, it's double-edged sword for me, or maybe a positive, I should say, because listen, you have to use celebrities because they have the biggest reach. They reach the most people. Smart. It's no different than advertising and spending more advertising dollars. It's the exact same thing. You're getting your bang for your buck with this person talking, okay? At the same token, on the other side of that, you can't vote for somebody because Eva Longoria wants to vote for that same person and you're a fan of Desperate Housewives. That's ridiculous. Like, so if you think that your favorite celebrity, just because John Mayer's playing a song next to Joe Biden, you're like, hey, I love John Mayer, my vote's going for Biden. That's terrible.
However, if you like Bruce Springsteen or Eva Longoria,
that's who I was trying to think of, but it didn't pop in my head.
I know. I'm like, John Mayer came out of nowhere, but I will say, if you like them as people, as activists, online, as their own individuals, and you follow their morals, then yeah, I would say I appreciate her recommending someone, because I agree with you.
I don't. I disagree.
Totally fair.
Yeah.
Let's fight about it later. All right, as more and more students head back to class, schools are struggling to stay open. And of course, the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill has just now decided to shut down in-person classes a week after reopening. The decision came after 130 students tested positive. Meantime, in Wuhan, China, which was once, if you remember, the epicenter of the pandemic, the beginning, the ground zero, things have largely returned to normal. The city hasn't reported any new cases since mid-May. Check out this massive pool park party that took place there over the weekend. Thousands of people packed together for an electronic music festival. No social distancing or masks needed. But they haven't had a case since May. What are your thoughts, Jeff?
First, let me go back to the college.
UNC
UNC did shut down, but their athletics programs did not.
Oh, wow.
Very interesting on that token. So that could be a whole
Where the
other
money is,
conversation
huh?
in itself.
Wow.
Yes. So we'll see how that goes. I believe the Big Ten already shut down
They
their
did. Yep.
football season.
Go Blue.
And so I don't know what's going to happen with them. So anyways, putting that aside, going back to Wuhan, listen, I don't know if we could, I don't want to go down this road, but can we really trust what's going on in China, the numbers that we're getting out of China? This is Wuhan. They have been they're a lot more strict than we are in their rules about going out and wearing masks and things like that.
Yep.
We see the brutality almost of people who disobey that. And we know if you stay inside in a perfect world, in 2 weeks, the virus will kill itself. So maybe this is a positive thing. If this is true and everything's right, this is a sign of our future that things can get back to normal. I don't know what to see in here because there's probably a lot of misinformation. I got to wrap. There's a lot to handle in those 2 seconds. I know Tori wanted to talk a lot about politics.
Not at all.
But we got it all in.
I think we just need to mention John Mayer.
Lindsay, you're the best. I miss your face, Lindsay. I haven't seen you in a while.
I got nothing. I got nothing.
We'll be right back.
Do you have a life insurance policy you no longer
show. We've been talking about it for weeks. 3 of her top producers have now left the show following accusations of alleged sexual misconduct. The executive producers Mary Connolly and Andy Lasner, who you always see on the show, you know, like Andy, he will stay on board. Ellen also issued another apology to the staff during a video call. She said she wasn't perfect, but she was sorry if she ever hurt anyone's feelings by being too short, unkind, or impatient with them. She also vowed to make things better going forward. She also said that she was an introvert, so it's much harder for her to sort of be out there and be sort of the peppy Ellen that's always there. I'm glad actions being taken place. This is what should happen, don't you think?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's big of Ellen to apologize. Maybe she didn't know of everything that was going on there. Again, I only know this secondhand, just like all of you guys. So I'm trying to look at this, you know, with a bigger perspective. Sometimes when you're in this business, I'm sure she comes in for an hour or two a day at the most, right? And she gets all of her information. She knows the people she needs to talk to. And if there's someone else wanting to talk to her, she's a big star. I'm sure that's their moment. I just got in. I'm working on the Ellen show. I'd like to get my shot to talk to her. She doesn't really have time for all that. I'm not making excuses for her. It's never right to treat anybody demeaning, but sometimes you get caught up with these yes men and yes women patting you on the back all the time, and you forget about the little people. And I think this is a wake-up call to Ellen, so I think she's handling it well.
Lindsay, I'm also glad, I'm going to get your take on this next story. I'm just glad that those 3 producers are out. I think they caused toxicity and some problems that I knew personally, so I'm glad they're gone. Well, there was a big breakthrough in one of New York's most notorious cold cases. 2 men have been charged in the 2002 murder of Jam Master Jay. Now, he's the former DJ from Run DMC. His real name was Jason Mizell. Federal prosecutors allege the 2 men killed him in cold blood as part of a drug-related homicide at a recording studio in Queens. Mizell was famous for some old-school rap hits you may recognize, including this song, Tricky.
That's right, on time. It's tricky. It's tight. Here we go. It's tricky to rock around. That's right, on time. It's tricky. It's tricky.
All right, Linz, what do you make of this? I mean, why did it take so long?
I have no idea. I mean, Jam Master Jay died when he was 37, and now 18 years later, we're finally getting some reprieve. But I'm so happy that the family could finally have some closures. You know, with like Tupac and Biggie, those families never really got public closure. So it's good to see this happening. And also, Jam Master Jay was like one of the most influential hip-hop artists of all time with Adidas and Run DMC. And so I think everybody, the whole world might be getting closure, wondering what happened.
Wow, well said. I'm glad it's finally happening. Well, coming up on DBL, Al catches up with Daily Show correspondents Roy Wood Jr. and Desi Leidick. If you need a laugh, don't go away. Welcome back to DBL. Roy Wood Jr. and Desi Lydic are correspondents on The Daily Show, and they're bringing their wit and talent to the Democratic National Convention. Al caught up with them earlier in today's DBL Spotlight.
I'm going to need an hour and a crew and a producer to replace that producer. You know, creative differences.
There's no need for concern. What you need to...
It's my pleasure to introduce my boy, my homie, Mr. Roy Wood Jr. and Desi Lydic. You guys are now officially DBL family. What's going on? How you guys feeling?
We're doing
good,
all
man.
right.
I appreciate you giving Desi kind of a black greeting too, because you was like, your tone was very brotherly with me, and you gave Desi a little bit of that dap up too. I appreciate that, Al. Don't make her feel unwelcome, because we've known each other for years.
Exactly. That's how I would bring her up on Urban Night. Man,
I'll take it.
Guys, we were just talking in the studio before we got started with the interview, and we were just talking. I was talking with one of the stage managers about just like how different everything is, and in a weird way, how I'm getting used to this kind of current and also post-quarantine life. What do you guys miss most about pre-quarantine life?
Babysitters.
So much. Teachers, anyone to watch my son, really, literally anyone.
The COVID-19 numbers are surging, yet, wearing masks somehow is still up for debate in some places. Do me a favor, tell me what your favorite excuse that you've heard for not wearing one.
That I can't breathe well while wearing a mask. It's like, okay, if you can, just think about what it might be like if you actually got COVID. Like, that is not a logical, it's not that bad.
Am I the only one that noticed that people who don't want to wear a mask sound just like dudes who don't want to wear a condom? Like, it don't feel the same. I ain't gonna catch nothing. You believe in all that data? Dr. Fauci don't know what he's talking about.
It's embarrassing, but Roy, you're a diehard sports fan, I know this. But the good news is professional sports are back, sort of. So what do you think about this new normal with virtual fans? It's weird watching the NBA with like those fake people in the audience.
It's better than what baseball does on weekends, where they put in CGI crowds and it looks like a video game, and then they cut to another shot and the stadium's empty and it looks like everybody got teleported out the stadium. What I am excited about with sports, I'm excited that the NBA has lifted some of their bubble restriction and they're allowing family members and longtime friends of players to come inside the bubble. That's right. It's going to be some longtime friends of players.
All right, well, we got to switch to politics now, because I know that's what you guys do. And, the way 2020 is gone, this year's DNC is probably going to be one for the books. So just tell me, what are some things that you guys are hoping are going to happen?
If Kamala could just throw a little shade at Pence, that would be really nice. I feel like she's probably going to do that.
If I was Biden at this point in the election, I would stop talking and I would just let Kamala just go up to the mic and say everything that needs to be said. Biden just needs to let Kamala flow, and then Biden just come in like a hype man. Yeah. And just be quiet.
Couldn't agree more. Guys, we're excited about the show. Roy Wood, Desi, thank you guys so much for chatting with us, stopping by. You guys have a home here at DBL. Roy, Desi, as soon as everything gets back to normal, we need you in studio when you're in Denver. We love you guys here, and we'll be right back.
Promotional consideration is brought to you by...
Hello.
to DBL. Experts have always recommended 7 to 8 hours of sleep, but new research is challenging that, saying it depends on your own body clock. We're chatting about it in today's Rise and Thrive, sponsored by SoClean. So according to Time magazine, scientists say we should nix the one-size-fits-all approach. Instead, each person should be listening more closely to their internal clocks. If you wake up before your alarm, get up. Don't snooze. Some people's internal clocks are hours off from others. To reset your clock, let light come into your bedroom early to wake up. Pulling an all-nighter will also reset your body clock, but that sounds terrible. For more ways to rest easy, go to SoClean.com or call 1-800-528-6029. I want to get to some comments that we got. Shelly from Facebook says, sorry, Michelle, I don't take voting advice from you. She cannot relate to the average person. And Patty from Facebook says, I worry that some of these people are outshining Joe Biden. I'm waiting to literally hear him speak. He's been too silent. We're going to have to wait and see what happens with the whole DNC.
Oh, 72 more sweet days or whatever it is. I can't wait.
Are you excited?
Yeah.
Dripping with sarcasm. Lindsay, we love you. We'll see you same time, same place tomorrow. Bye, guys. Off with a powerful message from Michelle Obama.
Donald Trump is the wrong president for our country.
Now President Trump is responding. What do you think, DBL Nation? What's going on in Wuhan? Shocking images show a packed pool party. But are they out of the water when it comes to coronavirus cases? Paris Hilton is ready to share her truth.
I'm so used to playing a character that it's hard for me to be normal.
The new documentary that uncovers her never before shared childhood trauma. And Jim Belushi is blazing a new path as a marijuana farmer.
It's a lot of marijuana.
How his new cannabis career is being turned into a reality TV show.
That's all the show is about, are my mishaps.
Real, honest, entertaining, live. DBL starts right now.
3, 2. Welcome to DBL. It is Tuesday, August 18th. I'm Sam here with Big Jeff. Al joining us from home. Hey, Al.
What's up? Good to see Jeff back, and just I feel like he's reemerged, man. Good to see you, man. Looking good. And Sammy, you're stunning as always.
Oh, thank you, Al. But Jeff's been back for a week now.
No, I got back. I flew in on Wednesday. I worked Thursday, Friday. Al, thank you for the compliment. Al, don't let people try to break up our love, Al.
Tomorrow's
don't
Wednesday,
let people get in the way.
Albert. It's been a week.
No, this is my third day back. There's 7 days in a week. Al, we love each other, and it can't be broken, buddy. It can't be broken.
I love you, Al. Okay, so let's get to the Democratic convention, because a lot of you already chiming in with your opinions. It kicked off last night, and everyone is talking about Michelle Obama's keynote speech. The former First Lady did not hold back going after the president. Nope. Take a look.
So let me be as honest and clear as I possibly can. Donald Trump is the wrong president for our country. He has had more than enough time to prove that he can do the job, but he is clearly in over his head. He cannot meet this moment. He simply cannot be who we need him to be for us. It is what it is.
And Michelle also gave a very strong endorsement for Joe Biden. Watch.
I know Joe. He is a profoundly decent man, guided by faith, and he listens. He will tell the truth and trust science. He will make smart plans and manage a good team. And he will govern as someone who's lived a life that the rest of us can recognize.
And the president responded this morning, tweeting, quote, "Somebody please explain to Michelle Obama that Donald J. Trump would not be here in the beautiful White House if it weren't for the job done by your husband, Barack Obama. Biden was merely an afterthought, a good reason for that very late and unenthusiastic endorsement." Interesting. Some of our very own DBL Nation, Jeff, echoing the same sentiment as the president, saying this did not feel like a sincere, this is their words, not mine, but an sincere endorsement for Biden, rather an endorsement to vote not Trump. They're not one and the same.
You know, listen, I told you yesterday, Sam, I don't want to see mudslinging or you know, thoughts like that. I don't think Michelle Obama did that. She's doing what she has to do when it comes to the Republican Party. They're going to do the same thing, right? So I'm trying to see down the middle here. I'm trying to look for the positives in this. I thought she made a good speech. We need some more inspiration. 50% of America aren't going to think she did a good job, no matter how good she did, right? So you have to look at this kind of down the middle. That's what I try to do. I was feeling the burn yesterday a little bit. I liked his positivity about people bringing together. He said, I'm willing to work with conservatives, which he's not. I saw a lot of other people reaching over the aisle, wanting to, you know, see the side of the Democrat or vice versa of the Republican. I think that's what we need. That's what I took out of yesterday's DMC, whatever the hell you call it. Sorry. You can see how fired up I am about this, Al. I'm very excited about it.
We're off to a great start. I'm actually digging it. Lots of passion here. Al, what did you make of it? And I'm getting comments in right now, people applauding Michelle Obama, saying that she is an incredible speaker. But then I have Shelley on Facebook saying, sorry, Michelle, I don't take voting advice from you. She cannot relate to the average person. Let's talk about the night in general, Al. Any moments that stuck out to you?
Definitely, Sam. I think Jeff hit it on the head when he said, you know, that Michelle's an incredible speaker and 50% of people are going to love what she said, 50% of the people aren't. That's fine. What I took away was another moment. It was when Kristen Urquiza spoke very passionately about losing her father, a father whom she says was a huge Trump supporter and who said lost his life because he believed that what we were hearing from the White House initially is that the numbers were overblown. We were going to have this under control. This is still kind of a hoax kind of thing. And she said that he went out to a karaoke bar. 2 weeks after that, he was in the ICU, and she said he died alone 5 days later. And before people jump on that, I want people to understand that this is just about a daughter that's lost her father. And we read that obituary a couple weeks ago. People are angry because they are feeling like they're losing loved ones, and it didn't have to be. And you can hear the passion when she speaks.
Oh, I thought we were going to...
Hi, I'm Kristen Urquiza. I'm one of the many who has lost a loved one to COVID. My dad was a healthy 65-year-old. His only pre-existing condition was trusting Donald Trump, and for that, he paid with his life.
Wow. A powerful moment indeed, Al. Listen, I'm continuing to read your comments because I always want to make sure that we hear what DBL Nation has to say. We have
Patty on Facebook saying, I worry that some of these people are outshining Joe. I'm waiting to literally hear Biden speak. He's been too silent. And then I also have Jason on Facebook mentioning that he does not believe that Joe Biden, that the supporters, rather, I'm trying to edit this as we go, the supporters, rather, did more harm than good. Thank you for that, Jason. I think the point here was not to convince Republicans.
Right.
I think if you, meaning Republicans that are diehard supporting Trump, I think the point here last night was to convince moderate Republicans. That's why they had John Kasich appear last night.
Which I appreciate.
Yep, John Kasich's whole point was, I'm going to take off my my Republican hat, my partisan hat, so to speak, and I am going to put country in front of party. That was John. So to that point, and then also unifying all the Democrats, because in 2016, let me tell you, the progressives were separate than a lot of the Dems. So I think the purpose of last night, by energizing the Dems with the progressives and then going after the Republicans who are more moderate and not happy with Trump, I think that was successful. But I agree with our viewer who believes that it did not attract any Trump supporters.
And I know we got to move on. I think the country's fatigued with this already, and we have 70 more days of it. But I appreciate Bernie Sanders saying he didn't agree with everything Joe Biden said. And I do agree with that viewer that wrote it and said a lot of people are outshining Joe right now. So
I think so, too.
We'll see.
I think we're going to have to hear from him very quickly. Okay, so the convention continues tonight with speakers including Dr. Jill Biden, former President Bill Clinton, and Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. So stay tuned for that. As more and more students head back to class, schools are struggling to stay open. So the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill has decided to shut down in-person classes a week after reopening. The decision came after 130 students tested positive. Meantime, in Wuhan, China, which was once the epicenter, of course, of the pandemic, things have largely returned to normal. The city hasn't reported any new cases since mid-May. Can you believe that? So check out this massive pool park party that took place there over the weekend. Thousands of people packed together for an electronic music festival. No social distancing, no masks needed. Again, they have not had one single case since mid-May. I hope that we can get there. I really hope that we can, but I'm losing some hope over here, Al.
Sam, I think you should. I mean, every day we work on a show where we cover people that are not social distancing. We covered the bike rally in Sturgis last week. You know, winter's coming up. We're going to have weddings and Christmas and Thanksgiving and just reasons for people to go inside and kind of gather together. And we're going to constantly see this. And it's disappointing because we are seeing countries like Wuhan, China. I know it's not a country, but a place like Wuhan, China, and countries like New Zealand that have done what they were supposed to do, and now they're returning to life as normal. And it seems like it's a million miles away for us.
Is that shocking to you to see that image?
I didn't know how to take this at first, right? So I saw this, I'm like, what are they doing? But they took all the right steps. Again, you have to take what China says with a grain of salt. I'm not alleged. I don't want to start like a conspiracy thing here, but you do have to take what they say with a grain of salt. But if they did everything properly, we do know, like our very own Dr. Pyle Coley, which is coming up in the next block, in 2 weeks, if everyone just stayed home, the virus would kill itself. And China is much more strict than America is on these rules. And if that virus killed itself off, this is the result of that. So I saw it at first, I was angry, but then I was hopeful at the same time.
But at the flip side, do you remember how unconstitutional it seemed when they were removing their
That's
citizens?
what I said. They have very different laws in America. And all we do is ask you to wear a mask.
It's not mandated.
It could be worse, right?
Yep. All right. Well, Al, don't go away. Coming up on DBL, our medical expert, Dr. Pyle Coley, joins us to talk about COVID and the flu season. Could this year be worse than the past? Plus, the pandemic is impacting teachers and students from coast to coast. Al chats with one educator who had to make one of the hardest decisions of his life. And check out our studio. Most of our coworkers, they are producing DBL from home. We couldn't thank them enough.
Do you have a life insurance?
Coronavirus changing almost daily. It's easy to get lost in it. I can barely keep up. Thank goodness we have our medical expert, Dr. Pyle Coley. Hey, Doc, to clear up some of that confusion. So, Dr. Coley, I want you to weigh in on this news. There's another COVID-19 buzzword floating around, and health experts call it a twindemic. Because of it, they are pushing harder for flu shots this year out of fear of a severe flu season on top of the pandemic. So, doctor, what is a twindemic, and what should we know about the flu and flu shots this year?
This is a very important concept, Sam, and it's exactly what you just said, which is really the confluence of two infectious disease outbreaks occurring at the same time, in this case, COVID-19 and the flu season. Now, we know the flu season normally starts in fall and winter, peaks in December and January. So this year, every single one of us should get our flu shot next month in September or October at the latest. And I have a really nifty mnemonic that I worked hard to create as to 3 good reasons why you should get your flu shot. So you guys ready for it?
Yes.
Okay, so it's 3 S's. So the first S is selfish. So there's some selfish reasons to get your flu shot this year, and that's mainly because you don't want to end up in a hospital with flu-like symptoms this fall or winter, because you're going to end up on a COVID ward.
Oof.
And secondly, you don't want to get both COVID and the flu together, because that could be really, really disastrous and very likely to result in a fatal complication. So the second S is selfless. So the first one was selfish. The second one is selfless. You want to get your flu shot this year, again, to try to protect others in the community, because the last thing you want to do is to overwhelm the hospital system by having a whole bunch of flu admissions when they really should be dealing with the COVID pandemic. And then the final S, the third one, is scientific reason to get your flu shot. And the reason is because even if you get your flu shot, it actually revs up your immune system and boosts it against other viruses. So we see this with the BCG vaccine, where you get the BCG vaccine for TB, but it helps you fight other respiratory viruses.
Great.
The 3
Done and
S's.
done.
I love it.
Check.
I love it. All right, Doc, what does it mean when we hear that the virus is mutating? Is this a good thing or a bad thing?
So unfortunately, Jeff, this is a bad thing. What it basically means is that the virus is getting smart. So as we learn how to fight the virus as the host, the virus learns how to fight back and starts to have genetic changes that make it more virulent. And there's a paper out on the internet that's not yet peer reviewed that suggests that this virus has already mutated, with the spike protein, the part that is used to get into cells, becoming more stable and 10 times more infectious. And they think this was the strain that was circulating in New York City and in Italy.
Oh man, I'm getting more and more hopeless. I really am. And I know that I shouldn't be Dr. Coley. In fact, do scientists have any idea if the virus will ever actually go away? Do viruses like this one get completely eradicated?
You know, Sam, I don't want you to lose hope, but I have to say that eradicating a virus completely is pretty challenging. And the only virus that we've pulled it off on so far is the smallpox virus, because 3 things have to happen to eradicate the virus. First, you have to have an effective vaccine that's widely distributed, like we did with smallpox. The second is you have to be able to recognize and quickly contain outbreaks. That's what's a little tricky with this virus, because everybody presents differently. And then the final is you have to get rid of the animal reservoir, the host. And again, with this virus, we're seeing it can now be in cats and other animals as well, so that may be challenging.
Doc, we're out of time, but I did have something to add about the mutation. Does that mean if we do come up with a vaccine that we have to come up with 2 different vaccines because it's mutating into something else? Am I understanding that correctly?
That's a great question, Jeff. It depends on what part of the virus mutates, because we're developing our vaccines against the spike protein. So yes, if the spike protein mutates, and that's what we've developed our vaccines against, and there's no cross-reactivity, we may have to come up with multiple vaccines, just like with the flu. We have, different strains of the vaccines, of the antigens in the vaccine.
Interesting.
Yep, very. We appreciate you, Dr. Coley. You'll be back tomorrow. So if you, DBL Nation, have a question about coronavirus that you want answered by Dr. Coley, write us on social media. You can also email info@dailyblastlive.com. We will be right back. Thanks, Doctor.
Thanks, Doc.
Welcome back to DBL. Tavius Peterkin, or Mr. P to his students, is a music teacher who says he was forced to choose between his health and his job. Al caught up with him earlier in today's DBL Spotlight.
Tavius Peterkin, welcome to DBL. We have a lot to discuss. Obviously, this story is near and dear to my heart as I was a middle school science teacher for 5 years, and you were a music teacher, but you are not teaching this year. Can you walk me through why that is?
I signed a contract with a new school district here in Arizona in May. At that particular point in time, our state was just opening back up from the coronavirus. Our cases were starting to lower. The school district ended up having a school-wide district meeting about what was going to happen. After that meeting, it raised some concerns for me, which I did let my principal know. And I was told that someone would get back to me the following day with my concerns, and no one ever did. So by the 20th of July, I ended up resigning my position.
Wow. Now, you know, Arizona was one of the hardest hit states with the coronavirus. What was your first reaction when you heard that you needed to be present in class?
I was a little floored. I couldn't believe it, honestly, because it didn't make sense to me, because in the meeting that we had, we were told that parents and students had choices. They had 3 options that they could take: a hybrid instruction, a fully online instruction, or face-to-face instruction. But teachers, we had to go into the classroom, and it just didn't make sense, because if students have the choice, why don't we as teachers have a choice?
You know, we need to start looking at our teachers as human beings. I mean, I completely agree with the stance you took, and I'm going to ask this question, but I think I know the answer. So you're telling me that the school and the school district were not very supportive about your decision?
No, they were not. I offered to teach from home, so it was never a thing of me wanting to quit. At the end of the day, I had to put my family first.
Give us an idea, give our viewers an idea of what your classroom kind of looked like and why that would be difficult to avoid possible COVID-19 interactions.
In a music classroom, you have students that range between anywhere from 50 to 70 plus students at a time. With the content I would have been teaching, which was band and or choir, with instrumentation, you have bells on those instruments that lean in the air, so the aerosols in the air go everywhere automatically, which will exacerbate COVID-19 more readily if a student even had the virus. Not only that, but students couldn't wear masks by playing an instrument. So all of these things were culminating in my mind.
That makes perfect sense. I thought it had it bad just being a science teacher. Your kids could literally be blowing the virus at you, no pun intended. One door closed, another one opened. You decided to open your own online school, which is amazing. You have your own business now. Now tell us, is this just for music students? Like, how does this work and how can we get involved?
No, this is actually for everybody. So my mainstream is reaching out to homeschool students, homeschooling parents. I will be teaching math, science, reading, social studies, language arts, as well as offering some music courses. For many people to get involved, to know where they can find me, it's www.classwithmrp, as I'm affectionately known, .com.
And I think there's going to be a really great area for schools like yours to slide right into. So I'm excited to see where you go from here. Thanks for coming by and chatting. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you.
We'll be right back.
Promotional consideration is brought to you by...
Hello, I'm
to the flu season. Lisa FB, or on Facebook. Wow. Lisa on Facebook. This winter is going to be scary as far as illness goes. And Dana says, I got a flu shot a few years ago and was sicker than ever in my life. I don't know about that.
I don't either. There's a lot of conspiracy around that. I get a flu shot. I'm just going to give it to you. Yeah.
And never been sick?
No.
You're sticking around. Here's what's coming up on DBL. More fallout at the Ellen Show as the embattled talk show host apologizes again to staff. And think you know Paris Hilton? Think again why she says no one really knows who she is. DBL's new every day. We'll be right back.
We're talking about real, honest, entertaining, live. DBL starts right now.
3, 2. Thank you, Patty. Welcome to DBL. I'm Sam here with Jeff Albert joining us from home. All right, so there's been a big shakeup at the Ellen Show. 3 of her top producers have left the show following accusations of alleged sexual misconduct. Executive producers Mary Connolly and Andy Lassner will stay on board. Ellen also issued another apology to staff during a video call. She said she wasn't perfect, but was sorry if she ever hurt anyone's feelings by being too short, unkind, or impatient with them. She also vowed to make things better going forward. Too little too late for this apology?
Sam, I don't know which side to be on this one. You know what I mean? That we live in this day of cancel culture, and I can't separate whether this is cancel culture or just Ellen, you know, kind of getting a big head and not paying attention to what's going on around her set. I'm torn. I could take an opposite side of whatever your viewpoint is on this one. But listen, I appreciate her coming forward. Even if she was rude, I appreciate her coming forward, getting rid of, so to speak, the bad apples, and trying to move forward with this, right? That's all you could ask of someone in life. I don't condone what she did. Again, my whole career, this is exactly what I don't want to happen. So I don't like that aspect, but I don't automatically want to condone her without knowing the stories firsthand.
Right, I appreciate that, but I will say you shouldn't have to worry about that because you treat every single person around you with equal respect. Now, the rumors, Al, that we've all heard living in Los Angeles, and these are just alleged, we don't know them firsthand,
right,
but the rumors have been that she allegedly was very toxic, very disrespectful to the people that work for her. So, Al, is this karma? Is this consequences for bad behavior, or is this cancel culture?
Cancel culture means that no one wants to hear from you again and you've been shut down. I don't think that's the case. I mean, people are giving Ellen her very large platform to speak and to make amends. But Sam and Jeff, I really do feel like, you know, this is you. This is her right now. She's looking at herself. She made it in the way that the 1% of the 1% will made it. She has more money than she'll ever know what to do with. She's known by everybody. But at the end of that, when you're sitting in that big house, what is your legacy? What is your legacy going to be? And I feel like she's being confronted by that because right now she has a wake behind her full of employees that felt demoralized. How do you walk around all day knowing that some young person that thought that they were getting the biggest break in their career coming to work for somebody that they deified, that they saw as their hero, only to be just destroyed on a daily basis, have your self-esteem attacked on a daily basis? And for us, Sam and Jeff, we're grown folks. When you're 23, if a couple wrong things happen, it can affect the rest of your career and your self-esteem. So I don't know. I think that's been going on for a while, and I think sometimes you got to pay the piper.
Yeah, I agree, and I would even say I'm not a fan of cancel culture, but if she has been as horrific as some of the claims, and if those are truthful, then these are her consequences, and she has to reap what she sows.
But with the mixed messages now in social media, you don't know what's what, right, Sam?
But
so I'm trying to give her the benefit of the doubt, and you definitely can't treat people like that.
You cannot treat people that way, especially for as long as allegedly she did. Paris Hilton reveals she had a traumatic childhood experience in her new YouTube documentary, This is Paris. Watch.
Something happened in my childhood that I've never talked about with anyone.
I just heard screaming. Bloody murder.
But I couldn't tell you guys because every time I tried, I'd get punished by them. I still have nightmares about it.
Here we are at Paris' school.
And the only thing that saved my sanity was thinking about who I wanted to become when I got out of there.
Paris did not disclose what the trauma involved, but she did say that she created her brand and persona as a way to become a character who she says she's now been stuck with ever since. What do you think of Paris getting real and raw about her life?
I kind of want to go back to you because I know you've kind of had some acquaintances with Paris. You know, I don't know how good of friends you are, but listen, Paris Hilton's a boss. Okay, I just want to put in my 2 cents right now. A lot of people think because she talks high and acts stupid, she's not. She's built herself an empire on top of the empire that was already given to her. So we can't imagine what her life is, right? But I kind of want to know because you kind of got to see through all that.
Yeah, and I had two. So we have a mutual friend, and I've gotten to know Paris through that mutual friend. But what's interesting about Paris is before I got to know her on a personal level, I used to wait on her as a waiter in Hollywood. And I always admired how she treated everybody. Going back to the Ellen DeGeneres thing, she treated everybody from her friends at the table to the bussers, to the waitresses, to the people at the door with just sheer kindness. And that always strikes a chord with me. I don't care at the end of the day what you do. If you're nice to people, that to me is the most important. Now, then I got to know her on a personal level through our mutual friend. And again, a very kind, almost shy, thoughtful, generous person. So I do think that people don't know the real Paris, and I do hope that eventually, Al, that she can kind of shed those layers and let people see the kind, empathetic, vulnerable person that she really is.
I get punished by
Yeah, Sam, you know, it really does go back to the Ellen story, and I'm going to loop it back just like you did. There comes a point where it gets real quiet. It gets real quiet, and you guys know what I mean. Your 20s is just loud. You're going to day parties, you're going to night parties, you're going to beach parties, friends' houses, driving here, driving there, blasting music. When you start to get in your 40s, it gets real quiet, and you have a lot of time to think. It's almost like that quiet you get right when you lay your head on the pillow. And I think Paris and Ellen are right now feeling that quiet, and they're saying to themselves, what's my legacy gonna be? What am I really? Am I just like some blonde that people don't take seriously? Am I just some tyrant talk show host that people think is a demon? So I think that they're trying to make amends, and I think they're finally confronting like who they are and what their legacy is going to be. So good luck to Paris. She seems like a good person.
Well said, Al. I just have to comment. The reason why I'm smirking is the way you build up to your point. I love it. You paint a picture so well. You really allow the viewer and Jeff and I to kind of place ourselves into that mental frame of when you're 20 years old.
So Al is saying he's past that point, but he was really hitting the nail on the head. Like, you know, when you go and you're having the best time of your life and then you order your first drink. He was like really being specific about how fun partying was, but he's over that now.
Yeah, I love you, Al. Okay, so there is a big breakthrough in one of New York's most notorious cold cases. 2 men have been charged in the 2002 murder of Jam Master Jay. He's the former DJ from Run DMC. His real name was Jason Mizell. Federal prosecutors allege the 2 men killed him in cold blood as part of a drug-related homicide at a recording studio in Queens. Now, Mizell was famous for some old-school rap hits you may recognize, including this song, Tricky.
That's right, on time. It's tricky. It's tight. Here we go. It's tricky to rock around. That's right, on time. It's tricky. It's tricky.
Yeah, and it's so sad because, you know, this is going to age us, but I remember this in my early 20s.
I can't believe it was 18 years ago.
Can you believe it?
No, I can't.
I know.
2002, I was like,
right.
I feel like this didn't happen that long ago.
Although I do remember it following 9/11, so that does make sense. But yeah, to think that 18 years, Al, 18 long years for his family and his loved ones to have to deal with no sort of closure. I'm glad that justice has finally been served, but why do you think it took so long?
Unfortunately, this is par for the course when it comes to rappers that have been killed. We still don't really have, we have ideas, but we don't know exactly who killed Biggie, who killed Tupac. You know, so this is par for the course, but it's good that there finally has been some resolution, because we've seen with all of these stories, whether they're rap related or not, every family just wants closure. And hopefully his family will get that and he can rest in peace. But it's really sad because I've read articles that that Run and DMC have talked about, and they say it's hard to perform concerts without him there. So, I mean, he leaves a hole that can't be filled.
Yeah, like our camera guy Rob said, they're the Beatles of rap.
They are. I know. And he was.
That's right.
I was looking at how talented he was. I mean, we all know his talent as the DJ, but starting trumpet at age 3. Like, he could play
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I was looking into his past, and I mean, my daughter's 3.
That's a good fact.
I can't imagine my daughter like boop, 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 all good on the trumpet. Anyway,
Al, what do you think?
Very talented man. Very talented man.
I think we can imagine your daughter making that noise. That's a very weird, poorly played trumpet. I think you're selling Sophie short. She can knock it out better than that.
What song was that anyway?
Boop, 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 boop. I don't know. Probably something from Peppa the Pig, because that's all we watch in my household. Brad Pitt and Jennifer Aniston are reuniting on screen. Brad has signed on for the virtual table read of Fast Times at Ridgemont High alongside his ex, Jennifer Aniston. The former couple haven't shared screen time together since 2001, when Brad guest starred on Friends. Now, Thursday's live streamed event is a fundraiser for Sean Penn's charity. He will also participate in the table read, but says he won't play Jeff Spicoli. What? So that means Brad Pitt's playing Spicoli. For sure, Pitt's playing Spicoli.
That's okay. Okay, I didn't even speculate that was going to happen, but that makes sense. I could see that. But come on, I mean, so iconic.
But he's already done it. Why does he have to do it again? He's already done it.
Because no one else is playing Spicoli. Everyone wants to see him play Spicoli. There's no other reason to have this than have him, and it's his charity.
But true, and his charity is incredible, Al. But if you've seen Brad Pitt not in character, he does have a Spicoli vibe about him.
I forgot that one movie where he wears like the radio on his arm and he's like that. Brad Pitt, where he's the message delivery guy.
That's right.
He's kind of got a Spicoli vibe in that movie.
I think he's gonna be a great Spicoli if he is Spicoli, Al. But I also think, wow, him and Jennifer Aniston on screen again. Everyone's gonna tune in just to see if there's fireworks again between the two of them.
You think there's a late night dinner involved?
Maybe, Al.
You know, look, I'm not really into that world, but it definitely, just from an outsider's perspective, it seems like there's something there. They're like kind of kindred spirits, and they always kind of orbit around each other, so who knows? Might go down.
We'll have to see.
Burn After Reading was the movie.
Oh, good, yes. Now, some ex-cons are revealing what shocked them most about the outside world after being released. Can you imagine? In a thread started on Reddit, many former inmates said they were stunned at people's obsession with smartphones. One user wrote about a man who was released after decades and couldn't handle walking through automatic glass sliding doors. Someone also said their uncle had never seen a touchscreen soda machine and spent at least an hour sampling different flavors at a fast food restaurant. Whoa, this reminds me of Encino Man. Do you remember Encino Man when
yes, of course, Brendan Fraser
comes out from the ice block, and all of a sudden he's like, whoa, what is all this technology?
That was a good reference. I like that.
But what would surprise you?
I think the phone thing, because it surprises me, and I'm living in this era, right? When I go out to eat, remember those days, the good old days? Aww. And I saw people like coming off a prom or going to their prom or a big event, not one person is looking and socializing. They're all looking at their phones, seeing what they're going to post, and I notice it. And I'm like, wow. So imagine not seeing any of that for 20 years, how far we've come technologically. I got it. But yeah, it must be crazy.
What about you, Al? What would surprise you if you were locked away from society for 10 to 20 years?
I think the thing that would get me most, and honestly, you know, this kind of reminds me of the scene. Jeff, you remember the movie The Hurt Locker, the soldier that was in the Middle East for years? Yeah, sorry, Sam. And, you know, he came back and he was overwhelmed being at Walmart. And I think just the size of stores and the sheer number of choices you have with anything. If you want some dishes on Amazon, there's 4,000 different sets you can choose from. So I think I'd be overwhelmed just with overwhelming amount of choices.
We dropped some movie knowledge today.
Yeah, we did. Hurt Locker,
Burn
After Reading, Encino Man. Yep. Wow. I know.
Sam, that was an old reference. That was a very old reference.
I'm old,
That was actually older than the original Encino Man.
Hey, we're all in our 40s now. Ooh, welcome it.
That's right.
I do. I embrace it. Al, we'll see you later in the show. Coming up on DBL, Jim Belushi is taking people behind the scenes of his new cannabis farm. Really? He tells Jeff what inspired his new show next in Chatting with the Stars.
Introducing the future.
Welcome back to DBL. 38 years ago, Jim Belushi lost his legendary brother John to a drug overdose. But it's a death that still impacts Jim to this day. And it's the main reason he started a cannabis farm in Oregon. Earlier, I caught up with Jim about his new reality show, which follows his farming adventures. That's today's Chatting with the Stars. Jim Belushi, welcome to DBL. I'm a huge fan of yours. For people who don't know, you must be living under a rock. You're an actor, a comedian, singer, musician, and now with 93 acres of land in Oregon, you could add farmer to that list. How did you decide what you're going to do with all that land, Jim?
You know what? I bought a little cabin-like place and built a house on the Rogue River in Southern Oregon on like 13 acres. And then the property behind me was an 80-acre farm that was up for sale. So I bought it, and then I didn't know what to grow. And cannabis became recreational and legal at that moment. I went, well, it's the new agriculture. Let's see what this is all about. It's a lot of marijuana.
You recently posted a photo of your late brother, John, on the Belushi Farm Instagram with the caption, "If my brother John was a pothead, he'd still be here today." How has his story influenced what you're doing on the farm right now?
I believe that. You know, opiates is a huge crisis. I mean, where there are dispensaries, the counties that have dispensaries, the opiate overdoses are down 25%. I mean, cannabis is a path off of opiates for veterans and overprescribed patients, a path to relieve anxiety, inflammation, sleeplessness, depression, Alzheimer's, even hopelessness. All this is a part of wellness in cannabis, and that is part of the show.
Yeah, and I would imagine there's a steep learning curve with this industry, which I'm sure, like you said, we'll get to see on your new show, Growing Belushi. Do you have any stories of farming mishaps that maybe you could share with us right now?
That's all the show is about, are my mishaps. I mean, the learning curve is steep, and I am slipping down this curve, just grabbing onto the road, trying to hang on. Let me tell you, it's for an actor to become a farmer, it was costly, not only financially, but emotionally, you know, and I learned a lot.
You're a farmer now. Does this mean you're done with Hollywood?
No, I do both. Why not? One isn't in contrast to the other. Actually, I've married both of them together. I'm farming and I film it too. So I can bring everything I know together.
Exactly. Mike Tyson's also a farmer. He's got a ranch, I think, out in Las Vegas. Would you fight him for title of best farmer?
Never. He can have it.
I thought I'd just throw it in there. Jim Belushi, thank you so much for joining us here on DBL. And for those of you wanting to follow along on Jim's wild ride, tune into Growing Belushi, airing tomorrow on Discovery. Again, Jim, I can't thank you enough, and go Bears.
Go Bears, and thank you for your support. I appreciate it.
All right, best of luck to you, Jim. Talk to you soon. We'll be right back, everybody.
Ladies, what's the first
Welcome back to DBL. Experts have always recommended 7 to 8 hours of sleep, but new research is challenging that, saying it depends on your own body clock. We're chatting about it in today's Rise and Thrive, sponsored by So Clean. So according to Time Magazine, scientists say we should nix the one-size-fits-all approach. Instead, each person should be listening more closely to their internal clocks. If you wake up before your alarm, get up, don't snooze. Some people's internal clocks are hours off from another's. To reset your clock, let light come into your bedroom early to wake up. Pulling an all-nighter will also, reset your body clock. That's not going to happen. For more ways to rest easy, go to SoClean.com or call 1-800-528-6029. Man, do you remember when you're like 20, though, and you can get away with all-nighters? And then now, 40-year-old Sam, if I have to get up multiple times because of the baby, I'm shocked for the rest of the day.
Al remembers his all-nighters, Al. Go back to the party days.
Yeah, Al.
Yeah, well, no, that for me, that was graduate school. No more. Can't do it anymore.
Boring. Graduate school because he's studying all night?
I know. I thought I wanted to hear a party story, Al. I heard a cool quote by Jim Carrey. He goes, I used to sneak out of my home to go to parties. Now I sneak out of parties to go home.
I love that. Isn't that the truth?
It's getting older.
So true.
Older.
And I'm okay with it.
And that's definitely me.
Yeah, same.
I definitely
Now,
peace.
Do you say goodbye to people, or do you do the exit
so
when you don't say goodbye?
I'm a little bit older, so I'll say goodbye. But there was a time where I just, like this, we got to go. I just sneak out the back door.
Got it. We'll be right back.
Promotional consideration is brought to you by
Introducing
DBL, we love sharing your comments. Al, are you sharing them or am I? It says Al in the prompter. Oh, it says Al in the prompter. Okay. So, Janine on Facebook says, I think Ellen does have a mean side. Just look at her game shows. She loves to see people humiliated. Ooh. Linda, another example of people with power, money, focus, etc., letting it go to their head and taking advantage. In regard to Brad Pitt, I remember Brad in a horror movie before he was famous, Cutting Class. He was awful in it. And then Jeff on Facebook, Sam, you're killing it today, the trumpet and Encino Man.
Well, we only got a couple seconds left. You want to play us out on your trumpet?
No.
There's only 10 seconds left. Well, then it'll be over.
Do, 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 do.
Play a little violin in there, too.
I need the sound effect. DBL's new every day. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye, Al. Same time, same place.
DBL Nation. What's going on in Wuhan? Shocking images show a packed pool party. But are they out of the water when it comes to coronavirus cases? Paris Hilton is ready to share her truth.
I'm so used to playing a character that it's hard for me to be normal.
The new documentary that uncovers her never before shared childhood trauma. And Jim Belushi is blazing a new path as a marijuana farmer.
It's a lot of marijuana.
How his new cannabis career is being turned into a reality TV show.
That's all the show is about, of my mishaps.
Real, honest, entertaining, live. DBL starts right now.
3, 2. Welcome to DBL. It is Tuesday, August 18th. I'm Sam here with Big Jeff. Al joining us from home. Hey, Al.
What's up? Good to see Jeff back, and just I feel like he's reemerged, man. Good to see you, man. Looking good. And Sammy, you're stunning as always.
Oh, thank you, Al. But Jeff's been back for a week now.
No, I got back. I flew in on Wednesday. I worked Thursday, Friday. Al, thank you for the compliment. Al, don't let people try to break up our love, Al.
Tomorrow's
don't
Wednesday,
let people get in the way.
Albert. It's been a week.
No, this is my third day back. There's 7 days in a week. Al, we love each other, and it can't be broken, buddy. It can't be broken.
I love you, Al. Okay, so let's get to the Democratic convention, because a lot of you already chiming in with your opinions. It kicked off last night, and everyone is talking about Michelle Obama's keynote speech. The former First Lady did not hold back going after the president. Nope. Take a look.
So let me be as honest and clear as I possibly can. Donald Trump is the wrong president for our country. He has had more than enough time to prove that he can do the job, but he is clearly in over his head. He cannot meet this moment. He simply cannot be who we need him to be for us. It is what it is.
And Michelle also gave a very strong endorsement for Joe Biden. Watch.
I know Joe. He is a profoundly decent man, guided by faith, and he listens. He will tell the truth and trust science. He will make smart plans and manage a good team. And he will govern as someone who's lived a life that the rest of us can recognize.
And the president responded this morning, tweeting, quote, "Somebody please explain to Michelle Obama that Donald J. Trump would not be here in the beautiful White House if it weren't for the job done by your husband, Barack Obama. Biden was merely an afterthought, a good reason for that very late and unenthusiastic endorsement." Interesting. Some of our very own DBL Nation, Jeff, echoing the same sentiment as the president, saying this did not feel like a sincere, this is their words, not mine, but an sincere endorsement for Biden, rather an endorsement to vote not Trump. They're not one and the same.
You know, listen, I told you yesterday, Sam, I don't want to see mudslinging or you know, thoughts like that. I don't think Michelle Obama did that. She's doing what she has to do when it comes to the Republican Party. They're going to do the same thing, right? So I'm trying to see down the middle here. I'm trying to look for the positives in this. I thought she made a good speech. We need some more inspiration. 50% of America aren't going to think she did a good job, no matter how good she did, right? So you have to look at this kind of down the middle. That's what I try to do. I was feeling the burn yesterday a little bit. I liked his positivity about people bringing together. He said, I'm willing to work with conservatives, which he's not. I saw a lot of other people reaching over the aisle, wanting to, you know, see the side of the Democrat or vice versa of the Republican. I think that's what we need. That's what I took out of yesterday's DMC, whatever the hell. You can see how fired up I am about this, Al. I'm very excited about it.
We're off to a great start. I'm actually digging it. Lots of passion here. Al, what did you make of it? And I'm getting comments in right now, people applauding Michelle Obama, saying that she is an incredible speaker. But then I have Shelley on Facebook saying, sorry, Michelle, I don't take voting advice from you. She cannot relate to the average person. Let's talk about the night in general, Al. Any moments that stuck out to you?
Definitely, Sam. I think Jeff hit it on the head when he said, you know, that Michelle's an incredible speaker and 50% of people are going to love what she said, 50% of the people aren't. That's fine. What I took away was another moment. It was when Kristen Urquiza spoke very passionately about losing her father, a father whom she says was a huge Trump supporter and who said lost his life because he believed that what we were hearing from the White House initially is that the numbers were overblown. We were going to have this under control. This is still kind of a hoax kind of thing. And she said that he went out to a karaoke bar. 2 weeks after that, he was in the ICU, and she said he died alone 5 days later. And before people jump on that, I want people to understand that this is just about a daughter that's lost her father. And we read that obituary a couple weeks ago. People are angry because they're feeling like they're losing loved ones, and it didn't have to be. And you can hear the passion when she speaks.
Oh, I thought we were
Hi, I'm Kristen Urquiza. I'm one of the many who has lost a loved one to COVID. My dad was a healthy 65-year-old. His only pre-existing condition was trusting Donald Trump, and for that, he paid with his life.
Wow. A powerful moment indeed, Al. Listen, I'm continuing to read your comments because I always want to make sure that we hear what DBL Nation has to say. We have Patty on Facebook saying, I worry that some of these people are outshining Joe. I'm waiting to literally hear Biden speak. He's been too silent. And then I also have Jason on Facebook mentioning that he does not believe that Joe Biden, that the supporters rather, I'm trying to edit this as we go, the supporters rather, did more harm than good. Thank you for that, Jason. I think the point here was not to convince Republicans.
Right.
I think if you, meaning Republicans that are diehard supporting Trump, I think the point here last night was to convince moderate Republicans That's why they had John Kasich appear last night.
Which I appreciate.
Yep, John Kasich's whole point was I'm going to take off my my Republican hat, my partisan hat, so to speak, and I am going to put country in front of party. That was John. So to that point, and then also unifying all the Democrats, because in 2016, let me tell you, the progressives were separate than a lot of the Dems. So I think the purpose of last night, by energizing the Dems with the progressives and then going after the Republicans who are more moderate and not happy with Trump, I think that was successful. But I agree with our viewer who believes that it did not attract any Trump supporters.
And I know we got to move on. I think the country's fatigued with this already, and we have 70 more days of it. But I appreciate Bernie Sanders saying he didn't agree with everything Joe Biden said. And I do agree with that viewer that wrote it and said a lot of people are outshining Joe right now. So
I think so, too.
We'll
I think we're going to have to hear from him very quickly. Okay, so the convention continues tonight with speakers including Dr. Jill Biden, former President Bill Clinton, and Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. So stay tuned for that. As more and more students head back to class, schools are struggling to stay open. So the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill has decided to shut down in-person classes a week after reopening. The decision came after 130 students tested positive. Meantime, in Wuhan, China, which was once the epicenter, of course, of the pandemic, things have largely returned to normal. The city hasn't reported any new cases since mid-May. Can you believe that? So check out this massive pool park party that took place there over the weekend. Thousands of people packed together for an electronic music festival. No social distancing, no masks needed. Again, they have not had one single case since mid-May. I hope that we can get there. I really hope that we can, but I'm losing some hope over here, Al.
Sam, I think you should. I mean, every day we work on a show where we cover people that are not social distancing. We covered the bike rally in Sturgis last week. You know, winter's coming up. We're going to have weddings and Christmas and Thanksgiving and just reasons for people to go inside and kind of gather together. And we're going to constantly see this. And it's disappointing because we are seeing countries like Wuhan, China. I know it's not a country, but a place like Wuhan, China, and countries like New Zealand that have done what they were supposed to do, and now they're returning to life as normal, and it seems like it's a million miles away for us.
Is that shocking to you to see that image?
I didn't know how to take this at first, right? So I saw this, I'm like, what are they doing? But they took all the right steps. Again, you have to take what China says with a grain of salt. I'm not alleged. I don't want to start like a conspiracy thing here, but you do have to take what they say with a grain of salt. But if they did everything properly, we do know, like our very own Dr. Pyle Coley, which is coming up in the next block, in 2 weeks, if everyone just stayed home, the virus would kill itself. And China is much more strict than America is on these rules. And if that virus killed itself off, this is the result of that. So I saw it at first, I was angry, but then I was hopeful at the same time.
But at the flip side, do you remember how unconstitutional it seemed when they were removing their
That's what I said. They have very different laws in America. And all we do is ask you to wear a mask.
It's not mandated.
It could be worse, right?
Yep. All right. Well, Al, don't go away. Coming up on DBL, our medical expert, Dr. Pyle Coley, joins us to talk about COVID and the flu season. Could this year be worse than the past? Plus, the pandemic is impacting teachers and students from coast to coast. Al chats with one educator who had to make one of the hardest decisions of his life. And check out our studio. Most of our coworkers, they are producing DBL from home. We couldn't thank them enough.
Do you have a life insurance
With all the information about coronavirus changing almost daily, it's easy to get lost in it. I can barely keep up. Thank goodness we have our medical expert, Dr. Payal Kohli. Hey, Doc, to clear up some of that confusion. So, Dr. Kohli, I want you to weigh in on this news. There's another COVID-19 buzzword floating around, and health experts call it a twindemic. Because of it, they are pushing harder for flu shots this year out of fear of a severe flu season on top of the pandemic. So, doctor, what is a twindemic, and what should we know about the flu and flu shots this year?
This is a very important concept, Sam, and it's exactly what you just said, which is really the confluence of two infectious disease outbreaks occurring at the same time, in this case, COVID-19 and the flu season. Now, we know the flu season normally starts in fall and winter, peaks in December and January. So this year, every single one of us should get our flu shot next month in September or October at the latest. And I have a really nifty mnemonic that I worked hard to create as to 3 good reasons why you should get your flu shot. So you guys ready for it?
Yes.
Okay, so it's 3 S's. So the first S is selfish. So there's some selfish reasons to get your flu shot this year, and that's mainly because you don't want to end up in a hospital with flu-like symptoms this fall or winter, because you're going to end up on a COVID ward.
Oof.
And secondly, you don't want to get both COVID and the flu together, because that could be really, really disastrous and very likely to result in a fatal complication. So the second S is selfless. So the first one was selfish. The second one is selfless. You want to get your flu shot this year, again, to try to protect others in the community, because the last thing you want to do is to overwhelm the hospital system by having a whole bunch of flu admissions when they really should be dealing with the COVID pandemic. And then the final S, the third one, is scientific reason to get your flu shot. And the reason is because even if you get your flu shot, it actually revs up your immune system and boosts it against other viruses. So we see this with the BCG vaccine, where you get the BCG vaccine for TB, but it helps you fight other respiratory viruses.
Great.
The 3
Done and
S's.
done.
I love it.
Check.
I love it. All right, Doc, what does it mean when we hear that the virus is mutating? Is this a good thing or a bad thing?
So unfortunately, Jeff, this is a bad thing. What it basically means is that the virus is getting smart. So as we learn how to fight the virus as the host, the virus learns how to fight back and starts to have genetic changes that make it more virulent. And there's a paper out on the internet that's not yet peer-reviewed that suggests that this virus has already mutated, with the spike protein, the part that is used to get into cells, becoming more stable and 10 times more infectious. And they think this was the strain that was circulating in New York City and in Italy.
Oh man, I'm getting more and more hopeless. I really am. And I know that I shouldn't be Dr. Kohli. In fact, do scientists have any idea if the virus will ever actually go away? Do viruses like this one get completely eradicated?
You know, Sam, I don't want you to lose hope, but I have to say that eradicating a virus completely is pretty challenging. And the only virus that we've pulled it off on so far is the smallpox virus, because 3 things have to happen to eradicate the virus. First, you have to have an effective vaccine that's widely distributed, like we did with smallpox. The second is you have to be able to recognize and quickly contain outbreaks. That's what's a little tricky with this virus, because everybody presents differently. And then the final is you have to get rid of the animal reservoir, the host. And again, with this virus, we're seeing it can now be in cats and other animals as well, so that may be challenging.
Doc, we're out of time, but I did have something to add about the mutation. Does that mean if we do come up with a vaccine that we have to come up with 2 different vaccines because it's mutating into something else? Am I understanding that correctly?
That's a great question, Jeff. It depends on what part of the virus mutates, because we're developing our vaccines against the spike protein. So yes, if the spike protein mutates, and that's what we've developed our vaccines against, and there's no cross-reactivity, we may have to come up with multiple vaccines, just like with the flu. We have, different strains of the vaccines, of the antigens in the vaccine.
Interesting.
Yep, very. We appreciate you, Dr. Kohli. You'll be back tomorrow, so if you, DBL Nation, have a question about coronavirus that you want answered by Dr. Kohli, write us on social media. You can also email info@dailyblastlive.com. We will be right back. Thanks, Doctor.
Thanks, Doc.
Welcome back to DBL. Tavius Peterkin, or Mr. P to his students, is a music teacher who says he was forced to choose between his health and his job. Al caught up with him earlier in today's DBL Spotlight.
Tavius Peterkin, welcome to DBL. We have a lot to discuss. Obviously, this story is near and dear to my heart as I was a middle school science teacher for 5 years, and you were a music teacher, but you are not teaching this year. Can you walk me through why that is?
I signed a contract with a new school district here in Arizona in May. At that particular point in time, our state was just opening back up from the coronavirus. Our cases were starting to lower. The school district ended up having a school-wide district meeting about what was going to happen. After that meeting, it raised some concerns for me, which I did let my principal know. And I was told that someone would get back to me the following day with my concerns, and no one ever did. So by the 20th of July, I ended up resigning my position.
Wow. Now, you know, Arizona was one of the hardest hit states with the coronavirus. What was your first reaction when you heard that you needed to be present in class?
I was a little floored. I couldn't believe it, honestly, because it didn't make sense to me, because in the meeting that we had, we were told that parents and students had choices. They had 3 options that they could take: a hybrid instruction, a fully online instruction, or face-to-face instruction. But teachers, we had to go into the classroom, and it just didn't make sense, because if students have the choice, why don't we as teachers have a choice?
You know, we need to start looking at our teachers as human beings. I mean, I completely agree with the stance you took, and I'm going to ask this question, but I think I know the answer. So you're telling me that the school and the school district were not very supportive about your decision?
No, they were not. I offered to teach from home, so it was never a thing of me wanting to quit. At the end of the day, I had to put my family first.
Give us an idea, give our viewers an idea of what your classroom kind of looked like and why that would be difficult to avoid possible COVID-19 interactions.
In a music classroom, you have students that range between anywhere from 50 to 70 plus students at a time. With the content I would have been teaching, which was band and or choir, with instrumentation, you have bells on those instruments that lean in the air, so the aerosols in the air go everywhere automatically, which will exacerbate COVID-19 more readily if a student even had the virus. Not only that, but students couldn't wear masks by playing an instrument. So all of these things were culminating in my mind.
That makes perfect sense. I thought it had it bad just being a science teacher. Your kids could literally be blowing the virus at you, no pun intended. One door closed, another one opened. You decided to open your own online school, which is amazing. You have your own business now. Now tell us, is this just for music students? Like, how does this work and how can we get involved?
No, this is actually for everybody. So my mainstream is reaching out to homeschool students, homeschooling parents. I will be teaching math, science, reading, social studies, language arts, as well as offering some music courses for many people to get involved, to know where they can find me. It's www.classwithmrp, as I'm affectionately known, .com.
And I think there's going to be a really great area for schools like yours to slide right into. So I'm excited to see where you go from here. Thanks for coming by and chatting. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you.
We'll be right back.
Promotional consideration is
Season Lisa FB or on Facebook. Wow. Lisa on Facebook. This winter is going to be scary as far as illness goes. And Dana says, I got a flu shot a few years ago and was sicker than ever in my life. I don't know about that.
I don't either. There's a lot of conspiracy around that. I get a flu shot. I'm just going to give it to you. Yeah.
And never been sick?
No.
You're sticking around. Here's what's coming up on DBL. More fallout at the Ellen Show as the embattled talk show host apologizes again to staff. And think you know Paris Hilton? Think again why she says no one really knows who she is. DBL's new every day. We'll be right back.
Is Daily Blast Live. We're talking about what you're talking about. Real, honest, entertaining, live. DBL starts right now.
3, 2. Thank you, Patty. Welcome to DBL. I'm Sam here with Jeff Albert joining us from home. All right, so there's been a big shakeup at the Ellen Show. 3 of her top producers have left the show following accusations of alleged sexual misconduct. Executive producers Mary Connolly and Andy Lassner will stay on board. Ellen also issued another apology to staff during a video call. She said she wasn't perfect, but was sorry if she ever hurt anyone's feelings by being too short, unkind, or impatient with them. She also vowed to make things better going forward. Too little too late for this apology?
Sam, I don't know which side to be on this one. You know what I mean? We live in this day of cancel culture, and I can't separate whether this is cancel culture or just Ellen, you know, kind of getting a big head and not paying attention to what's going on around her set. I'm torn. I could take an opposite side of whatever your viewpoint is on this one. But listen, I appreciate her coming forward. Even if she was rude, I appreciate her coming forward, getting rid of, so to speak, the bad apples, and trying to move forward with this, right? That's all you could ask of someone in life. I don't condone what she did. Again, my whole career, this is exactly what I don't want to happen. So I don't like that aspect, but I don't automatically want to condone her without knowing the stories firsthand.
Right. I appreciate that. But I will say you shouldn't have to worry about that because you treat every single person around you with equal respect. Now, the rumors, Al, that we've all heard living in Los Angeles, and these are just alleged, we don't know them firsthand,
right.
But the rumors have been that she allegedly was very toxic, very disrespectful to the people that work for her. So, Al, is this karma? Is this consequences for bad behavior, or is this cancel culture?
Cancel culture means that no one wants to hear from you again and you've been shut down. I don't think that's the case. I mean, people are giving Ellen her very large platform to speak and to make amends. But Sam and Jeff, I really do feel like, you know, this is you. This is her right now. She's looking at herself. She made it in the way that the 1% of the 1% will make it. She has more money than she'll ever know what to do with. She's known by everybody. But at the end of that, when you're sitting in that big house, what is your legacy? What is your legacy going to be? And I feel like she's being confronted by that because right now she has a wake behind her full of employees that felt demoralized. How do you walk around all day knowing that some young person that thought that they were getting the biggest break in their career coming to work for somebody that they deified, that they saw as their hero, only to be just destroyed on a daily basis, have your self-esteem attacked on a daily basis? And for us, Sam and Jeff, we're grown folks. When you're 23, if a couple of wrong things happen, it can affect the rest of your career and your self-esteem. So I don't know. I think that's been going on for a while, and I think sometimes you got to pay the piper.
Yeah, I agree, and I would even say I'm not a fan of cancel culture, but if she has been as horrific as some of the claims, and if those are truthful, then these are her consequences, and she has to reap what she sows.
But with the mixed messages now and social media, you don't know what's what, right, Sam?
But
so
you
I'm trying
can't
to
treat
give her
people that
the
way.
benefit of the doubt, and you definitely can't treat people like that.
You cannot treat people that way, especially for as long as allegedly she did. Paris Hilton reveals she had a traumatic childhood experience in her new YouTube documentary, This is Paris. Watch.
Something happened in my childhood that I've never talked about with anyone.
I just heard screaming, bloody murder.
But I couldn't tell you guys because every time I tried, I would get punished by them. I still have nightmares about it.
Here we are at Paris' school.
And the only thing that saved my sanity was thinking about who I wanted to become when I got out of there.
Paris did not disclose what the trauma involved, but she did say that she created her brand and persona as a way to become a character who she says she's now been stuck with ever since. What do you think of Paris getting real and raw about her life?
I kind of want to go back to you because I know you've kind of had some acquaintances with Paris. You know, I don't know how good of friends you are, but listen, Paris Hilton's a boss. Okay, I just want to put in my 2 cents right now. A lot of people think because she talks high and acts stupid, she's not. She's built herself an empire on top of the empire that was already given to her. So we can't imagine what her life is, right? But I kind of want to know because you kind of got to see through all that.
Yeah, and I had two, so we have a mutual friend, and I've gotten to know Paris through that mutual friend. But what's interesting about Paris is before I got to know her on a personal level, I used to wait on her as a waiter in Hollywood. And I always admired how she treated everybody. Going back to the Ellen DeGeneres thing, she treated everybody from her friends at the table to the bussers, to the waitresses, to the people at the door with just sheer kindness. And that always strikes a chord with me. I don't care at the end of the day what you do. If you're nice to people, that to me is the most important. Now, then I got to know her on a personal level through our mutual friend. And again, a very kind, almost shy, thoughtful, generous person. So I do think that people don't know the real Paris, and I do hope that eventually, Al, that she can kind of shed those layers and let people see the kind, empathetic, vulnerable person that she really is.
I would get punished by
Yeah, Sam, you know, it really does go back to the Ellen story, and I'm going to loop it back just like you did. There comes a point where it gets real quiet. It gets real quiet, and you guys know what I mean. Your 20s is just loud. You're going to day parties, you're going to night parties, you're going to beach parties, friends' houses, driving here, driving there, blasting music. When you start to get in your 40s, it gets real quiet, and you have a lot of time to think. It's almost like that quiet you get right when you lay your head on the pillow. And I think Paris and Ellen are right now feeling that quiet, and they're saying to themselves, what's my legacy gonna be? What am I really? Am I just like some blonde that people don't take seriously? Am I just some tyrant talk show host that people think is a demon? So I think that they're trying to make amends, and I think they're finally confronting like who they are and what their legacy is going to be. So good luck to Paris. She seems like a good person.
Well said, Al. I just have to comment. The reason why I'm smirking is the way you build up to your point. I love it. You paint a picture so well. You really allow the viewer and Jeff and I to kind of place ourselves into that mental frame of when you're 20 years old.
So Al is saying he's past that point, but he was really hitting the nail on the head. Like, you know, when you go and you're having the best time of your life and then you order your first drink. He was like really being specific about how fun partying was, but he's over that now.
Yeah, you, Al. Okay, so there is a big breakthrough. In one of New York's most notorious cold cases, 2 men have been charged in the 2002 murder of Jam Master Jay. He's the former DJ from Run DMC. His real name was Jason Mizell. Federal prosecutors allege the 2 men killed him in cold blood as part of a drug-related homicide at a recording studio in Queens. Now, Mizell was famous for some old-school rap hits you may recognize, including this song, Tricky.
That's right, on time. It's tricky, it's tight. Here we go. It's tricky to rock around. That's right, on time. It's tricky. It's tricky.
Yeah, and it's so sad because, you know, this is going to age us, but I remember this in my early 20s.
I can't believe it was 18 years ago.
Can you believe it?
No, I can't.
I know.
2002, I was like,
right.
I feel like this didn't happen that long ago.
Although I do remember it following 9/11, so that does make sense. But yeah, to think that 18 years, Al, 18 long years for his family and his loved ones to have to deal with no sort of closure. I'm glad that justice has finally been served, but why do you think it took so long?
Unfortunately, this is par for the course when it comes to rappers that have been killed. We still don't really have, we have ideas, but we don't know exactly who killed Biggie, who killed Tupac. You know, so this is par for the course, but it's good that there finally has been some resolution, because we've seen with all of these stories, whether they're rap related or not, every family just wants closure. And hopefully his family will get that and he can rest in peace. But it's really sad because I've read articles that that Run and DMC have talked about, and they say it's hard to perform concerts without him there. So, I mean, he leaves a hole that can't be filled.
Yeah, like our camera guy Rob said, they're the Beatles of rap.
They are. I know. And he was.
That's right.
I was looking at how talented he was. I mean, we all know his talent as the DJ, but starting trumpet at age 3. Like, he could play every. Yeah, I was looking into his past, and I mean, my daughter's 3.
That's a good fact.
I can't imagine my daughter like boop, 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 all good on the trumpet. Anyways,
Al, what do you
very talented man. Very talented man.
I think we can't imagine your daughter making that noise. That's a very weird, poorly played trumpet. I think you're selling Sophie short. She can knock it out better than that.
What song was that anyway?
Boop, 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 boop. I don't know. Probably something from Peppa the Pig, because that's all we watch in my household. Brad Pitt and Jennifer Aniston are reuniting on screen. Brad has signed on for the virtual table read of Fast Times at Ridgemont High alongside his ex, Jennifer Aniston. The former couple haven't shared screen time together since 2001, when Brad guest starred on Friends. Now, Thursday's live streamed event is a fundraiser for Sean Penn's charity. He will also participate in the table read, but says he won't play Jeff Spicoli. What? So that means Brad Pitt's playing Spicoli. For sure, Pitt's playing Spicoli.
That's okay. Okay, I didn't even speculate that was going to happen, but that makes sense. I could see that. But come on, I mean, so iconic.
But he's already done it. Why does he have to do it again? He's already done it.
Because no one else is playing Spicoli. Everyone wants to see him play Spicoli. There's no other reason to have this than have him, and it's his charity.
But true, and his charity's incredible, Al. But if you've seen Brad Pitt not in character, he does have a Spicoli vibe about him.
I forgot that one movie where he wears like the radio on his arm and he's like that. Brad Pitt, where he's the message delivery guy.
That's right.
He's kind of got a Spicoli vibe in that movie.
I think he's going to be a great Spicoli if he is Spicoli, Al. But I also think, wow, him and Jennifer Aniston on screen again. Everyone's going to tune in just to see if there's fireworks again between the two of them.
You think there's a late night dinner involved?
Maybe, Al.
You know, look, I'm not really into that world, but it definitely, just from an outsider's perspective, it seems like there's something there. They're like kind of kindred spirits, and they always kind of orbit around each other, so who knows? Might go down.
We'll have to see.
Burn After Reading was the movie.
Ooh, good, yes. Now, some ex-cons are revealing what shocked them most about the outside world after being released. Can you imagine? In a thread started on Reddit, many former inmates said they were stunned at people's obsession with smartphones. One user wrote about a man who was released after decades and couldn't handle walking through automatic glass sliding doors. Someone also said their uncle had never seen a touchscreen soda machine and spent at least an hour sampling different flavors at a fast food restaurant. Whoa, this reminds me of Encino Man. Do you remember Encino Man when
yes, of course, Brendan
Fraser comes out from the ice block, and all of a sudden he's like, whoa, what is all this technology?
That was a good reference. I like that.
But what would surprise you?
I think the phone thing, because it surprises me, and I'm living in this era, right? When I go out to eat, remember those days, the good old days? And I saw people like coming off a prom or going to their prom or a big event. Not one person is looking and socializing. They're all looking at their phones, seeing what they're going to post, and I notice it. And I'm like, wow. So imagine not seeing any of that for 20 years, how far we've come technologically. I got it. But yeah, it must be crazy.
What about you, Al? What would surprise you if you were locked away from society for 10 to 20 years?
I think the thing that would get me most, and honestly, you know, this kind of reminds me of the scene. Jeff, you remember the movie The Hurt Locker, the soldier that was in the Middle East for years? Yeah, sorry, Sam. And, you know, he came back and he was overwhelmed being at Walmart. And I think just the size of stores and the sheer number of choices you have with anything. If you want some dishes on Amazon, there's 4,000 different sets you can choose from. So I think I'd be overwhelmed just with overwhelming amount of choices.
We dropped some movie knowledge today.
Yeah, we did. Hurt Locker, Burn After Reading, Encino Man. Yep.
Wow.
I know.
Sam, that was an old reference. That was a very old reference.
I'm old,
That was
Al.
actually older than the original Encino Man.
Hey, we're all in our 40s now.
Ooh,
welcome it.
That's right.
I do. I embrace it. Al, we'll see you later in the show. Coming up on DBL, Jim Belushi is taking people behind the scenes of his new cannabis farm. Really? He tells Jeff what inspired his new show next in Chatting with the Stars.
Introducing the future of
Well, 38 years ago, Jim Belushi lost his legendary brother John to a drug overdose. But it's a death that still impacts Jim to this day. And it's the main reason he started a cannabis farm in Oregon. Earlier, I caught up with Jim about his new reality show, which follows his farming adventures. That's today's Chatting with the Stars. Jim Belushi, welcome to DBL. I'm a huge fan of yours. For people who don't know, you must be living under a rock. You're an actor, a comedian, singer, musician, and now with 93 acres of land in Oregon, you could add farmer to that list. How did you decide what you're going to do with all that land, Jim?
You know what? I bought a little cabin-like place and built a house on the Rogue River in Southern Oregon on like 13 acres. And then the property behind me was an 80-acre farm that was up for sale. So I bought it, and then I didn't know what to grow. And cannabis became recreational and legal at that moment. I went, well, it's the new agriculture. Let's see what this is all about. It's a lot of marijuana.
You recently posted a photo of your late brother, John, on the Belushi Farm Instagram with the caption, "If my brother John was a pothead, he'd still be here today." How has his story influenced what you're doing on the farm right now?
I believe that. You know, opiates is a huge crisis. I mean, where there are dispensaries, the counties that have dispensaries, the opiate overdoses are down 25%. I mean, cannabis is a path off of opiates for veterans and overprescribed patients, a path to relieve anxiety, inflammation, sleeplessness, depression, Alzheimer's, even hopelessness. All this is a part of wellness in cannabis, and that is part of the show.
Yeah, and I would imagine there's a steep learning curve with this industry, which I'm sure, like you said, we'll get to see on your new show, Growing Belushi. Do you have any stories of farming mishaps that maybe you could share with us right now?
That's all the show is about, are my mishaps. I mean, the learning curve is steep, and I am slipping down this curve, just grabbing onto the road, trying to hang on. Let me tell you, it's for an actor to become a farmer, it was costly, not only financially, but emotionally, you know, and I learned a lot.
You're a farmer now. Does this mean you're done with Hollywood?
No, I do both. Why not? One isn't in contrast to the other. Actually, I've married both of them together. I'm farming and I film it too. So I can bring everything I know together.
Exactly. Mike Tyson's also a farmer. He's got a ranch, I think, out in Las Vegas. Would you fight him for title of best farmer?
Never. He can have it.
I thought I'd just throw it in there. Jim Belushi, thank you so much for joining us here on DBL. And for those of you wanting to follow along on Jim's wild ride, tune into Growing Belushi, airing tomorrow on Discovery. Again, Jim, I can't thank you enough, and go Bears.
Go Bears, and thank you for your support. I appreciate it.
All right, best of luck to you, Jim. Talk to you soon. We'll be right back, everybody.
Ladies, what's the first thing you take off when you get home? Your bra. Underwire digs. Ouch! And back fat from bra straps is embarrassing.
Welcome back to DBL. Experts have always recommended 7 to 8 hours of sleep, but new research is challenging that, saying it depends on your own body clock. We're chatting about it in today's Rise and Thrive, sponsored by So Clean. So according to Time Magazine, scientists say we should nix the one-size-fits-all approach. Instead, each person should be listening more closely to their internal clocks. If you wake up before your alarm, get up, don't snooze. Some people's internal clocks are hours off from another's. To reset your clock, let light come into your bedroom early to wake up. Pulling an all-nighter will also, reset your body clock. That's not going to happen. For more ways to rest easy, go to SoClean.com or call 1-800-528-6029. Man, do you remember when you're like 20, though, and you can get away with all-nighters? And then now, 40-year-old Sam, if I have to get up multiple times because of the baby, I'm shocked for the rest of the day.
Al remembers his all-nighters, Al. Go back to the party days.
Yeah, Al.
Yeah, well, no, for me, that was graduate school. No more. Can't do it anymore.
Boring. Graduate school because he's studying all night?
I know. I thought I was going to hear a party story, Al. I heard a cool quote by Jim Carrey. He goes, I used to sneak out of my home to go to parties. Now I sneak out of parties to go home.
I love that. Isn't that the truth?
It's getting older.
So true.
Older.
And I'm okay with it.
And that's definitely me.
Yeah, same.
I definitely like
Now,
peace.
do you say goodbye to people, or do you do the exit
so
when you
I'm
don't say goodbye?
a little bit older, so I'll say goodbye. But there was a time where I just, like this, we got to go. I just sneak out the back door.
Got it. We'll be right back.
Promotional consideration is
Welcome back to DBL. We love sharing your comments. Al, are you sharing them or am I? It says Al in the prompter. Oh, it says Al in the prompter. Okay. So, Janine on Facebook says, I think Ellen does have a mean side. Just look at her game shows. She loves to see people humiliated. Ooh. Linda, another example of people with power, money, focus, etc., letting it go to their head and taking advantage. In regard to Brad Pitt, I remember Brad in a horror movie before he was famous, Cutting Class. He was awful in it. And then Jeff on Facebook, Sam, you're killing it today, the trumpet and Encino Man.
Well, we only got a couple seconds left. You want to play us out on your trumpet?
No.
There's only 10 seconds left. Well, then it'll be over.
Do, 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 do.
Play a little violin in there, too.
I need the sound effect. DBL's new every day. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye, Al. Same time, same place.
Convention kicks off with a powerful message from Michelle Obama.
Donald Trump is the wrong president for our country.
Now President Trump is responding. What do you think, DBL Nation? What's going on in Wuhan? Shocking images show a packed pool party. But are they out of the water when it comes to coronavirus cases? Paris Hilton is ready to share her truth.
I'm so used to playing a character that it's hard for me to be normal.
The new documentary that uncovers her never before shared childhood trauma. And Jim Belushi is blazing a new path as a marijuana farmer.
It's a lot of marijuana.
How his new cannabis career is being turned into a reality TV show.
That's all the show is about, are my mishaps.
Real, honest, entertaining, live. DBL starts right now.
3, 2. Welcome to DBL. It is Tuesday, August 18th. I'm Sam here with Big Jeff. Al joining us from home. Hey, Al.
What's up? Good to see Jeff back, and just I feel like he is reemerged, man. Good to see you, man. Looking good. And Sammy, you're stunning as always.
Oh, thank you, Al. But Jeff's been back for a week now.
No, I got back. I flew in on Wednesday. I worked Thursday, Friday. Al, thank you for the compliment. Al, don't let people try to break up our love, Al.
Tomorrow's
don't
Wednesday,
let people get in the way.
Albert. It's been a week.
No, this is my third day back. There's 7 days in a week. Al, we love each other, and it can't be broken, buddy. It can't be broken.
I love you, Al. Okay, so let's get to the Democratic convention, because a lot of you already chiming in with your opinions. It kicked off last night, and everyone is talking about Michelle Obama's keynote speech. The former First Lady did not hold back going after the president. Nope. Take a look.
So let me be as honest and clear as I possibly can. Donald Trump is the wrong president for our country. He has had more than enough time to prove that he can do the job, but he is clearly in over his head. He cannot meet this moment. He simply cannot be who we need him to be for us. It is what it is.
And Michelle also gave a very strong endorsement for Joe Biden. Watch.
I know Joe. He is a profoundly decent man, guided by faith, and he listens. He will tell the truth and trust science. He will make smart plans and manage a good team. And he will govern as someone who's lived a life that the rest of us can recognize.
And the president responded this morning, tweeting, quote, "Somebody please explain to Michelle Obama that Donald J. Trump would not be here in the beautiful White House if it weren't for the job done by your husband, Barack Obama. Biden was merely an afterthought, a good reason for that very late and unenthusiastic endorsement." Interesting. Some of our very own DBL Nation, Jeff, echoing the same sentiment as the president, saying this did not feel like a sincere, this is their words, not mine, but an sincere endorsement for Biden, rather an endorsement to vote not Trump. They're not one and the same.
You know, listen, I told you yesterday, Sam, I don't want to see mudslinging or you know, thoughts like that. I don't think Michelle Obama did that. She's doing what she has to do when it comes to the Republican Party. They're going to do the same thing, right? So I'm trying to see down the middle here. I'm trying to look for the positives in this. I thought she made a good speech. We need some more inspiration. 50% of America aren't going to think she did a good job, no matter how good she did, right? So you have to look at this kind of down the middle. That's what I try to do. I was feeling the burn yesterday a little bit. I liked his positivity about people bringing together. He said, I'm willing to work with conservatives, which he's not. I saw a lot of other people reaching over the aisle, wanting to, you know, see the side of the Democrat or vice versa of the Republican. I think that's what we need. That's what I took out of yesterday's DMC, whatever the hell. You can see how fired up I am about this, Al. I'm very excited about it.
We're off to a great start. I'm actually digging it. Lots of passion here. Al, what did you make of it? And I'm getting comments in right now, people applauding Michelle Obama, saying that she is an incredible speaker. But then I have Shelley on Facebook saying, sorry, Michelle, I don't take voting advice from you. She cannot relate to the average person. Let's talk about the night in general, Al. Any moments that stuck out to you?
Definitely, Sam. I think Jeff hit it on the head when he said, you know, that Michelle's an incredible speaker and 50% of people are going to love what she said, 50% of the people aren't. That's fine. What I took away was another moment. It was when Kristen Urquiza spoke very passionately about losing her father, a father whom she says was a huge Trump supporter and who said lost his life because he believed that what we were hearing from the White House initially is that the numbers were overblown. We were going to have this under control. This is still kind of a hoax kind of thing. And she said that he went out to a karaoke bar. 2 weeks after that, he was in the ICU, and she said he died alone 5 days later. And before people jump on that, I want people to understand that this is just about a daughter that's lost her father. And we read that obituary a couple weeks ago. People are angry because they are feeling like they're losing loved ones, and it didn't have to be. And you can hear the passion when she speaks.
Oh, I thought we were going to...
Hi, I'm Kristen Urquiza. I'm one of the many who has lost a loved one to COVID. My dad was a healthy 65-year-old. His only pre-existing condition was trusting Donald Trump, and for that, he paid with his life.
Wow. A powerful moment indeed, Al. Listen, I'm continuing to read your comments because I always want to make sure that we hear what DBL Nation has to say. We have Patty on Facebook saying, I worry that some of these people are outshining Joe. I'm waiting to literally hear Biden speak. He's been too silent. And then I also have Jason on Facebook mentioning that he does not believe that Joe Biden, that the supporters rather, I'm trying to edit this as we go, the supporters rather, did more harm than good. Thank you for that, Jason. I think the point here was not to convince Republicans. Right. I think if you, meaning Republicans that are diehard supporting Trump, I think the point here last night was to convince moderate Republicans That's why they had John Kasich appear last night.
Which I appreciate.
Yep, John Kasich's whole point was, I'm going to take off my my Republican hat, my partisan hat, so to speak, and I am going to put country in front of party. That was John. So to that point, and then also unifying all the Democrats, because in 2016, let me tell you, the progressives were separate than a lot of the Dems. So I think the purpose of last night, by energizing the Dems with the progressives and then going after the Republicans who are more moderate and not happy with Trump, I think that was successful. But I agree with our viewer who believes that it did not attract any Trump supporters.
And I know we got to move on. I think the country's fatigued with this already, and we have 70 more days of it. But I appreciate Bernie Sanders saying he didn't agree with everything Joe Biden said. And I do agree with that viewer that wrote it and said a lot of people are outshining Joe right now. So
I think so, too.
We'll see.
I think we're going to have to hear from him very quickly. Okay, so the convention continues tonight with speakers including Dr. Jill Biden, former President Bill Clinton, and Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. So stay tuned for that. As more and more students head back to class, schools are struggling to stay open. So the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill has decided to shut down in-person classes a week after reopening. The decision came after 130 students tested positive. Meantime, in Wuhan, China, which was once the epicenter, of course, of the pandemic, things have largely returned to normal. The city hasn't reported any new cases since mid-May. Can you believe that? So check out this massive pool park party that took place there over the weekend. Thousands of people packed together for an electronic music festival. No social distancing, no masks needed. Again, they have not had one single case since mid-May. I hope that we can get there. I really hope that we can, but I'm losing some hope over here, Al.
Sam, I think you should. I mean, every day we work on a show where we cover people that are not social distancing. We covered the bike rally in Sturgis last week. Winter's coming up. We're going to have weddings and Christmas and Thanksgiving and just reasons for people to go inside and kind of gather together. And we're going to constantly see this. And it's disappointing because we are seeing countries like Wuhan, China. I know it's not a country, but a place like Wuhan, China, and countries like New Zealand that have done what they were supposed to do, and now they're returning to life as normal. And it seems like it's a million miles away for us.
Is that shocking to you to see that image?
I didn't know how to take this at first, right? So I saw this, I'm like, what are they doing? But they took all the right steps. Again, you have to take what China says with a grain of salt. I'm not alleged. I don't want to start like a conspiracy thing here, but you do have to take what they say with a grain of salt. But if they did everything properly, we do know, like our very own Dr. Pyle Coley, which is coming up in the next block, in 2 weeks, if everyone just stayed home, the virus would kill itself. And China is much more strict than America is on these rules. And if that virus killed itself off, this is the result of that. So I saw it at first, I was angry, but then I was hopeful at the same time.
But at the flip side, do you remember how unconstitutional it seemed when they were removing their
That's what I said. They have very different laws in America. And all we do is ask you to wear a mask.
It's not mandated.
It could be worse, right?
Yep. All right. Well, Al, don't go away. Coming up on DBL, our medical expert, Dr. Pyle Coley, joins us to talk about COVID and the flu season. Could this year be worse than the past? Plus, the pandemic is impacting teachers and students from coast to coast. Al chats with one educator who had to make one of the hardest decisions of his life. And check out our studio. Most of our coworkers, they are producing DBL from home. We couldn't thank them enough. Welcome back to DBL. With all the information about coronavirus changing almost daily, it's easy to get lost in it. I can barely keep up. Thank goodness we have our medical expert, Dr. Payal Kohli. Hey, Doc, to clear up some of that confusion. So, Dr. Kohli, I want you to weigh in on this news. There's another COVID-19 buzzword floating around, and health experts call it a twindemic. Because of it, they are pushing harder for flu shots this year out of fear of a severe flu season on top of the pandemic. So, doctor, what is a twindemic and what should we know about the flu and flu shots this year?
This is a very important concept, Sam, and it's exactly what you just said, which is really the confluence of two infectious disease outbreaks occurring at the same time, in this case, COVID-19 and the flu season. Now, we know the flu season normally starts in fall and winter, peaks in December and January. So this year, every single one of us should get our flu shot next month in September or October at the latest. And I have a really nifty mnemonic that I worked hard to create as to 3 good reasons why you should get your flu shot. So you guys ready for it?
Yes.
Okay, so it's 3 S's. So the first S is selfish. So there's some selfish reasons to get your flu shot this year, and that's mainly because you don't want to end up in a hospital with flu-like symptoms this fall or winter, because you're going to end up on a COVID ward.
Oof.
And secondly, you don't want to get both COVID and the flu together, because that could be really, really disastrous and very likely to result in a fatal complication. So the second S is selfless. So the first one was selfish. The second one is selfless. You want to get your flu shot this year, again, to try to protect others in the community, because the last thing you want to do is to overwhelm the hospital system by having a whole bunch of flu admissions when they really should be dealing with the COVID pandemic. And then the final S, the third one, is scientific reason to get your flu shot. And the reason is because even if you get your flu shot, it actually revs up your immune system and boosts it against other viruses. So we see this with the BCG vaccine, where you get the BCG vaccine for TB, but it helps you fight other respiratory viruses.
Great.
The 3
Done and
S's.
done.
I love it.
Check.
I love it. All right, Doc, what does it mean when we hear that the virus is mutating? Is this a good thing or a bad thing?
So unfortunately, Jeff, this is a bad thing. What it basically means is that the virus is getting smart. So as we learn how to fight the virus as the host, the virus learns how to fight back and starts to have genetic changes that make it more virulent. And there's a paper out on the internet that's not yet peer reviewed that suggests that this virus has already mutated, with the spike protein, the part that is used to get into cells, becoming more stable and 10 times more infectious. And they think this was the strain that was circulating in New York City and in Italy.
Oh man, I'm getting more and more hopeless. I really am. And I know that I shouldn't be Dr. Kohli. In fact, do scientists have any idea if the virus will ever actually go away? Do viruses like this one get completely eradicated?
You know, Sam, I don't want you to lose hope, but I have to say that eradicating a virus completely is pretty challenging. And the only virus that we've pulled it off on so far is the smallpox virus, because 3 things have to happen to eradicate the virus. First, you have to have an effective vaccine that's widely distributed, like we did with smallpox. The second is you have to be able to recognize and quickly contain outbreaks. That's what's a little tricky with this virus, because everybody presents differently. And then the final is you have to get rid of the animal reservoir, the host. And again, with this virus, we're seeing it can now be in cats and other animals as well, so that may be challenging.
Doc, we're out of time, but I did have something to add about the mutation. Does that mean if we do come up with a vaccine that we have to come up with 2 different vaccines because it's mutating into something else? Am I understanding that correctly?
That's a great question, Jeff. It depends on what part of the virus mutates, because we're developing our vaccines against the spike protein. So yes, if the spike protein mutates, and that's what we've developed our vaccines against, and there's no cross-reactivity, we may have to come up with multiple vaccines, just like with the flu. We have, different strains of the vaccines, of the antigens in the vaccine.
Interesting.
Yep, very. We appreciate you, Dr. Kohli. You'll be back tomorrow. So if you, DBL Nation, have a question about coronavirus that you want answered by Dr. Kohli, write us on social media. You can also email info@dailyblastlive.com. We will be right back. Thanks, Doctor.
Thanks, Doc.
Welcome back to DBL. Tavius Peterkin, or Mr. P to his students, is a music teacher who says he was forced to choose between his health and his job. Al caught up with him earlier in today's DBL Spotlight.
Tavius Peterkin, welcome to DBL. We have a lot to discuss. Obviously, this story is near and dear to my heart as I was a middle school science teacher for 5 years, and you were a music teacher, but you are not teaching this year. Can you walk me through why that is?
I signed a contract with a new school district here in Arizona in May. At that particular point in time, our state was just opening back up from the coronavirus. Our cases were starting to lower. The school district ended up having a school-wide district meeting about what was going to happen. After that meeting, it raised some concerns for me, which I did let my principal know. And I was told that someone would get back to me the following day with my concerns, and no one ever did. So by the 20th of July, I ended up resigning my position.
Wow. Now, you know, Arizona was one of the hardest hit states with the coronavirus. What was your first reaction when you heard that you needed to be present in class?
I was a little floored. I couldn't believe it, honestly, because it didn't make sense to me, because in the meeting that we had, we were told that parents and students had choices. They had 3 options that they could take: a hybrid instruction, a fully online instruction, or face-to-face instruction. But teachers, we had to go into the classroom, and it just didn't make sense, because if students have the choice, why don't we as teachers have a choice?
You know, we need to start looking at our teachers as human beings. I mean, I completely agree with the stance you took, and I'm going to ask this question, but I think I know the answer. So you're telling me that the school and the school district were not very supportive about your decision?
No, they were not. I offered to teach from home, so it was never a thing of me wanting to quit. At the end of the day, I had to put my family first.
Give us an idea, give our viewers an idea of what your classroom kind of looked like and why that would be difficult to avoid possible COVID-19 interactions.
In a music classroom, you have students that range between anywhere from 50 to 70 plus students at a time. With the content I would have been teaching, which was band and or choir, with instrumentation, you have bells on those instruments that lean in the air. So the aerosols in the air go everywhere automatically, which will exacerbate COVID-19 more readily if a student even had the virus. Not only that, but students couldn't wear masks by playing an instrument. So all of these things were culminating in my mind.
That makes perfect sense. I thought it had it bad just being a science teacher. Your kids could literally be blowing the virus at you, no pun intended. One door closed, another one opened. You decided to open your own online school, which is amazing. You have your own business now. Now tell us, is this just for music students? Like, how does this work and how can we get involved?
No, this is actually for everybody. So my mainstream is reaching out to homeschool students, homeschooling parents. I will be teaching math, science, reading, social studies, language arts, as well as offering some music courses for many people to get involved, to know where they can find me. It's www.classwithmrp, as I'm affectionately known, .com.
And I think there's going to be a really great area for schools like yours to slide right into. So I'm excited to see where you go from here. Thanks for coming by and chatting. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you.
We'll be right back.
Promotional consideration is brought to you by
Lots of comments in regard to the flu season. Lisa FB, or on Facebook. Wow. Lisa on Facebook. This winter is going to be scary as far as illness goes. And Dana says, I got a flu shot a few years ago and was sicker than ever in my life. I don't know about that.
I don't either. There's a lot of conspiracy around that. I get a flu shot. I'm just going to give it to you. Yeah.
And never been sick?
No.
You're sticking around. Here's what's coming up on DBL. More fallout at the Ellen Show as the embattled talk show host apologizes again to staff. And think you know Paris Hilton? Think again why she says no one really knows who she is. DBL's new every day. We'll be right back.
It's Daily Blast Live. We're talking about what you're talking about. Real, honest, entertaining, live. DBL starts right now.
3, 2. Thank you, Patty. Welcome to DBL. I'm Sam here with Jeff Albert joining us from home. All right, so there's been a big shakeup at the Ellen Show. 3 of her top producers have left the show following accusations of alleged sexual misconduct. Executive producers Mary Connolly and Andy Lassner will stay on board. Ellen also issued another apology to staff during a video call. She said she wasn't perfect, but was sorry if she ever hurt anyone's feelings by being too short, unkind, or impatient with them. She also vowed to make things better going forward. Too little too late for this apology?
Sam, I don't know which side to be on this one. You know what I mean? That we live in this day of cancel culture, and I can't separate whether this is cancel culture or just Ellen, you know, kind of getting a big head and not paying attention to what's going on around her set. I'm torn. I could take an opposite side of whatever your viewpoint is on this one. But listen, I appreciate her coming forward. Even if she was rude, I appreciate her coming forward, getting rid of, so to speak, the bad apples, and trying to move forward with this, right? That's all you could ask of someone in life. I don't condone what she did. Again, my whole career, this is exactly what I don't want to happen. So I don't like that aspect, but I don't automatically want to condone her without knowing the stories firsthand.
Right. I appreciate that. But I will say you shouldn't have to worry about that because you treat every single person around you with equal respect. Now, the rumors, Al, that we've all heard living in Los Angeles, and these are just alleged, we don't know them firsthand,
right.
But the rumors have been that she allegedly was very toxic, very disrespectful to the people that work for her. So, Al, is this karma? Is this consequences for bad behavior, or is this cancel culture?
Cancel culture means that no one wants to hear from you again and you've been shut down. I don't think that's the case. I mean, people are giving Ellen her very large platform to speak and to make amends. But Sam and Jeff, I really do feel like, you know, this is you. This is her right now. She's looking at herself. She made it in the way that the 1% of the 1% will made it. She has more money than she'll ever know what to do with. She's known by everybody. But at the end of that, when you're sitting in that big house, what is your legacy? What is your legacy going to be? And I feel like she's being confronted by that because right now she has a wake behind her full of employees that felt demoralized. How do you walk around all day knowing that some young person that thought that they were getting the biggest break in their career coming to work for somebody that they deified, that they saw as their hero, only to be just destroyed on a daily basis, have your self-esteem attacked on a daily basis? And for us, Sam and Jeff, we're grown folks. When you're 23, if a couple of wrong things happen, it can affect the rest of your career and your self-esteem. So I don't know. I think that's been going on for a while, and I think sometimes you got to pay the piper.
Yeah, I agree, I agree, and I would even say I'm not a fan of cancel culture, but if she has been as horrific as some of the claims, and if those are truthful, then these are her consequences, and she has to reap what she sows.
But with the mixed messages now in social media, you don't know what's what, right, Sam?
But
so
you
I'm trying
can't
to
treat
give her
people that
the
way.
benefit of the doubt, and you definitely can't treat people like that.
You cannot treat people that way, especially for as long as allegedly she did. Paris Hilton reveals she had a traumatic childhood experience in her new YouTube documentary, This Is Paris. Watch.
Something happened to my childhood that I've never talked about with anyone.
I just heard screaming, bloody murder.
But I couldn't tell you guys because every time I tried, I would get punished by them. I still have nightmares about it.
Here we are at Paris' school.
And the only thing that saved my sanity was thinking about who I wanted to become when I got out of there.
Paris did not disclose what the trauma involved, but she did say that she created her brand and persona as a way to become a character who she says she's now been stuck with ever since. What do you think of Paris getting real and raw about her life?
I kind of want to go back to you because I know you've kind of had some acquaintances with Paris. You know, I don't know how good of friends you are, but listen, Paris Hilton's a boss, okay? I just want to put in my 2 cents right now. A lot of people think because she talks high and acts stupid, she's not. She's built herself an empire on top of the empire that was already given to her. So we can't imagine what her life is, right? But I kind of want to know because you kind of got to see through all that.
Yeah, and I had two, so we have a mutual friend, and I've gotten to know Paris through that mutual friend. But what's interesting about Paris is before I got to know her on a personal level, I used to wait on her as a waiter in Hollywood. And I always admired how she treated everybody. Going back to the Ellen DeGeneres thing, she treated everybody from her friends at the table to the bussers, to the waitresses, to the people at the door with just sheer kindness. And that always strikes a chord with me. I don't care at the end of the day what you do. If you're nice to people, that to me is the most important. Now, then I got to know her on a personal level through our mutual friend. And again, a very kind, almost shy, thoughtful, generous person. So I do think that people don't know the real Paris, and I do hope that eventually, Al, that she can kind of shed those layers and let people see the kind, empathetic, vulnerable person that she really is.
I would get punished by
Yeah, Sam, you know, it really does go back to the Ellen story, and I'm going to loop it back just like you did. There comes a point where it gets real quiet. It gets real quiet, and you guys know what I mean. Your 20s is just loud. You're going to day parties, you're going to night parties, you're going to beach parties, friends' houses, driving here, driving there, blasting music. When you start to get in your 40s, it gets real quiet, and you have a lot of time to think. It's almost like that quiet you get right when you lay your head on the pillow. And I think Paris and Ellen are right now feeling that quiet, and they're saying to themselves, what's my legacy gonna be? What am I really? Am I just like some blonde that people don't take seriously? Am I just some tyrant talk show host that people think is a demon? So I think that they're trying to make amends, and I think they're finally confronting like who they are and what their legacy is going to be. So good luck to Paris. She seems like a good person.
Well said, Al. I just have to comment. The reason why I'm smirking is the way you build up to your point. I love it. You paint a picture so well. You really allow the viewer and Jeff and I to kind of place ourselves into that mental frame of when you're 20 years old.
So Al is saying he's past that point, but he was really hitting the nail on the head. Like, you know, when you go and you're having the best time of your life and then you order your first drink, he was like really being specific about how fun partying was, but he's over that now.
Yeah, I love you, Al. Okay, so there is a big breakthrough. In one of New York's most notorious cold cases, 2 men have been charged in the 2002 murder of Jam Master Jay. He's the former DJ from Run DMC. His real name was Jason Mizell. Federal prosecutors allege the 2 men killed him in cold blood as part of a drug-related homicide at a recording studio in Queens. Now, Mizell was famous for some old-school rap hits you may recognize, including this song, Tricky.
That's right, on time. It's tricky. It's tight. Here we go. It's tricky to rock around. That's right, on time. It's tricky. It's tricky.
Yeah, and it's so sad because, you know, this is going to age us, but I remember this in my early 20s.
I can't believe it was 18 years ago.
Can you believe it?
No, I can't.
I know.
2002, I was like,
right.
I feel like this didn't happen that long ago.
Although I do remember it following 9/11, so that does make sense. But yeah, to think that 18 years, Al, 18 long years for his family and his loved ones to have to deal with no sort of closure. I'm glad that justice has finally been served, but why do you think it took so long?
Unfortunately, this is par for the course when it comes to rappers that have been killed. We still don't really have, we have ideas, but we don't know exactly who killed Biggie, who killed Tupac. You know, so this is par for the course, but it's good that there finally has been some resolution, because we've seen with all of these stories, whether they're rap related or not, every family just wants closure. And hopefully his family will get that and he can rest in peace. But it's really sad because I've read articles that that Run and DMC have talked about, and they say it's hard to perform concerts without him there. So, I mean, he leaves a hole that can't be filled.
Yeah, like our camera guy Rob said, they're the Beatles of rap.
They are. I know. And he was.
That's right.
I was looking at how talented he was. I mean, we all know his talent as the DJ, but starting trumpet at age 3. Like, he could play Yeah, I was looking into his past, and I mean, my daughter's 3.
That's a good fact.
I can't imagine my daughter like boop, 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 all good on the trumpet. Anyways,
Al, what do you
very talented man. Very talented man.
I think we can imagine your daughter making that noise. That's a very weird, poorly played trumpet. I think you're selling Sophie short. She can knock it out better than that.
What song was that anyway?
Boop, 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 boop. I don't know. Probably something from Peppa the Pig, because that's all we watch in my household. Brad Pitt and Jennifer Aniston are reuniting on screen. Brad has signed on for the virtual table read of Fast Times at Ridgemont High alongside his ex, Jennifer Aniston. The former couple haven't shared screen time together since 2001, when Brad guest starred on Friends. Now, Thursday's live streamed event is a fundraiser for Sean Penn's charity. He will also participate in the table read, but says he won't play Jeff Spicoli. What? So that means Brad Pitt's playing Spicoli. For sure, Pitt's playing Spicoli.
That's okay. Okay, I didn't even speculate that was going to happen, but that makes sense. I could see that. But come on, I mean, so iconic.
But he's already done it. Why does he have to do it again? He's already done it.
Because no one else is playing Spicoli. Everyone wants to see him play Spicoli. There's no other reason to have this. Have him, and it's his charity.
But true, and his charity's incredible, Al. But if you've seen Brad Pitt not in character, he does have a Spicoli vibe about him.
I forgot that one movie where he wears like the radio on his arm and he's like that. Brad Pitt, where he's the message delivery guy.
That's right.
He's kind of got a Spicoli vibe in that movie.
I think he's gonna be a great Spicoli if he is Spicoli, Al. But I also think, wow, him and Jennifer Aniston on screen again. Everyone's gonna tune in just to see if there's fireworks again between the two of them.
You think there's a late night dinner involved?
Maybe, Al.
You know, look, I'm not really into that world, but it definitely, just from an outsider's perspective, it seems like there's something there. They're like kind of kindred spirits, and they always kind of orbit around each other, so who knows? Might go down.
We'll have to see.
Burn After Reading was the movie.
Ooh, good, yes. Now, some ex-cons are revealing what shocked them most about the outside world after being released. Can you imagine? In a thread started on Reddit, many former inmates said they were stunned at people's obsession with smartphones. One user wrote about a man who was released after decades and couldn't handle walking through automatic glass sliding doors. Someone also said their uncle had never seen a touchscreen soda machine and spent at least an hour sampling different flavors at a fast food restaurant. Whoa, this reminds me of Encino Man. Do you remember Encino Man when
yes, of course, Brendan Fraser
comes out from the ice block, and all of a sudden he's like, whoa, what is all this technology?
That was a good reference. I like that.
But what would surprise you?
I think the phone thing, because it surprises me, and I'm living in this era, right? When I go out to eat, remember those days, the good old days? And I saw people like coming off a prom or going to their prom or a big event. Not one person is looking and socializing. They're all looking at their phones, seeing what they're going to post, and I notice it. And I'm like, wow. So imagine not seeing any of that for 20 years, how far we've come technologically. I got it. But yeah, it must be crazy.
What about you, Al? What would surprise you if you were locked away from society for 10 to 20 years?
I think the thing that would get me most, and honestly, you know, this kind of reminds me of the scene. Jeff, you remember the movie The Hurt Locker, the soldier that was in the Middle East for years? Yeah, sorry, Sam. And, you know, he came back and he was overwhelmed being at Walmart. And I think just the size of stores and the sheer number of choices you have with anything. If you want some dishes on Amazon, there's 4,000 different sets you can choose from. So I think I'd be overwhelmed just with overwhelming amount of choices.
We dropped some movie knowledge today.
Yeah, we did. Hurt Locker,
Burn After Reading,
Encino Man. Yep.
Wow.
I know.
Sam, that was an old reference. That was a very old reference.
I'm old,
That was
Al.
actually older than the original Encino Man.
Hey, we're all in our 40s now.
Ooh,
welcome it.
That's right.
I do. I embrace it. Al, we'll see you later in the show. Coming up on DBL, Jim Belushi is taking people behind the scenes of his new cannabis farm. Really? He tells Jeff what inspired his new show next in Chatting with the Stars.
Welcome back to DBL. 38 years ago, Jim Belushi lost his legendary brother John to a drug overdose. But it's a death that still impacts Jim to this day. And it's the main reason he started a cannabis farm in Oregon. Earlier, I caught up with Jim about his new reality show, which follows his farming adventures. That's today's Chatting with the Stars. Jim Belushi, welcome to DBL. I'm a huge fan of yours. For people who don't know, you must be living under a rock. You're an actor, a comedian, singer, musician, and now with 93 acres of land in Oregon, you could add farmer to that list. How did you decide what you're going to do with all that land, Jim?
You know what? I bought a little cabin-like place and built a house on the Rogue River in Southern Oregon on like 13 acres. And then the property behind me was an 80-acre farm that was up for sale. So I bought it, and then I didn't know what to grow. And cannabis became recreational and legal at that moment. I went, well, it's the new agriculture. Let's see what this is all about. It's a lot of marijuana.
You recently posted a photo of your late brother, John, on the Belushi Farm Instagram with the caption, "If my brother John was a pothead, he'd still be here today." How has his story influenced what you're doing on the farm right now?
I believe that. You know, opiates is a huge crisis. I mean, where there are dispensaries, the counties that have dispensaries, the opiate overdoses are down 25%. I mean, cannabis is a path off of opiates for veterans and overprescribed patients, a path to relieve anxiety, inflammation, sleeplessness, depression, Alzheimer's, even hopelessness. All this is a part of wellness in cannabis, and that is part of the show.
Yeah, and I would imagine there's a steep learning curve with this industry, which I'm sure, like you said, we'll get to see on your new show, Growing Belushi. Do you have any stories of farming mishaps that maybe you could share with us right now?
That's all the show is about, are my mishaps. I mean, the learning curve is steep, and I am slipping down this curve, just grabbing onto the road, trying to hang on. Let me tell you, it's for an actor to become a farmer, it was costly, not only financially, but emotionally, you know, and I learned a lot.
You're a farmer now. Does this mean you're done with Hollywood?
No, I do both. Why not? One isn't in contrast to the other. Actually, I've married both of them together. I'm farming and I film it too. So I can bring everything I know together.
Exactly. Mike Tyson's also a farmer. He's got a ranch, I think, out in Las Vegas. Would you fight him for title of best farmer?
Never. He can have it.
I thought I'd just throw it in there. Jim Belushi, thank you so much for joining us here on DBL. And for those of you wanting to follow along on Jim's wild ride, tune into Growing Belushi, airing tomorrow on Discovery. Again, Jim, I can't thank you enough, and go Bears.
Go Bears, and thank you for your support. I appreciate it.
All right, best of luck to you, Jim. Talk to you soon. We'll be right back, everybody.
Welcome back to DBL. Experts have always recommended 7 to 8 hours of sleep, but new research is challenging that, saying it depends on your own body clock. We're chatting about it in today's Rise and Thrive, sponsored by So Clean. So according to Time Magazine, scientists say we should nix the one-size-fits-all approach. Instead, each person should be listening more closely to their internal clocks. If you wake up before your alarm, get up, don't snooze. Some people's internal clocks are hours off from another's. To reset your clock, let light come into your bedroom early to wake up. Pulling an all-nighter will also, reset your body clock. That's not going to happen. For more ways to rest easy, go to SoClean.com or call 1-800-528-6029. Man, do you remember when you're like 20, though, and you can get away with all-nighters? And then now, 40-year-old Sam, if I have to get up multiple times because of the baby, I'm shocked for the rest of the day.
Al remembers his all-nighters, Al. Go back to the party days.
Yeah, Al.
Yeah, well, no, for me, that was graduate school. No more. Can't do it anymore.
Boring. Graduate school because he's studying all night?
I know. I thought I was going to hear a party story, Al. I heard a cool quote by Jim Carrey. He goes, I used to sneak out of my home to go to parties. Now I sneak out of parties to go home.
I love that. Isn't that the truth?
It's getting older.
So true.
Older.
And I'm okay with it.
And that's definitely me.
Yeah, same.
I definitely like
Now,
peace.
do you say goodbye to people, or do you do the exit
so
when you don't say goodbye?
I'm a little bit older, so I'll say goodbye. But there was a time where I just, like this, we got to go. I just sneak out the back door.
Got it. We'll be right back. Welcome back to DBL. We love sharing your comments. Al, are you sharing them or am I? It says Al in the prompter. Oh, it says Al in the prompter. Okay. So, Janine on Facebook says, I think Ellen does have a mean side. Just look at her game shows. She loves to see people humiliated. Ooh. Linda, another example of people with power, money, focus, etc., letting it go to their head and taking advantage. In regard to Brad Pitt, I remember Brad in a horror movie before he was famous, Cutting Class. He was awful in it. And then Jeff on Facebook, Sam, you're killing it today. The trumpet and Encino Man.
Well, we only got a couple seconds left. You want to play us out on your trumpet?
No.
There's only 10 seconds left. Well, then it'll be over.
Do, 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 do.
Play a little violin in there, too.
I need a sound effect. DBL's new every day. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye, Al. Same time, same place.